afternoons.
It's Blake and Darren's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
K-Man's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
All right, let's get some Friday morning headlines from Sandy from CMR. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Blake. How you doing?
We are good. What's up? What do you got for us?
Fantastic. All right, so we've got last night breaking news headlines. There were 2 attempted robberies. I think one was successful. It looks like the same set of culprits. They attempted the Burger King on the waterfront first.
Wait, are these the white glove robbers?
Were they wearing white gloves? No, this one's wearing a black glove. So they're black glove robbers. So they attempted Burger King, were unsuccessful, and then went to McRuss instead on Eastern Avenue. So they did get some money from there based on the footage that we've seen. There were some reports of something else happening in West Bay, but we couldn't quite get confirmation on that. So we do have some pretty good footage of these guys between the vehicle that they were driving and they pulled up in at Burger King to, even some of the outfits that they're wearing. So I would encourage people to go and have a look at our social media pages, and you might be able to identify that person. Maybe it's your cousin or something. Who knows? But the police were kept pretty busy last night. Unbelievable. The RCIPS has finally released a statement saying that the home explosion off of Bayfield Crescent was because of a gas leak. Pretty interesting. I think it's a bit more involved than that, and I wish they would release the entire report, but they haven't done that. They've just said that it was a gas leak. So we actually have a guest coming on this morning from Home Gas who we're going to talk to, and perhaps we can get a little bit more information out of him.
Well, was the gas leak on purpose or was it accidental? They didn't say.
They didn't say that it was on purpose, but they did issue a statement earlier saying that there was no reason for them to believe that anything criminal basically had been going on. So looks like they're saying accidental. Right. So Wendy's has been fined over $125,000 for work permit infractions.
Really?
That's pretty shocking.
Wow.
Yeah. 14 of their employees were said to be working outside the terms of their work permit.
14?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I'm like, is that everybody that works for them? Well, anyway, WRC has said that they undertook a very efficient and professional investigation by the lead officer in that case, and they were proud of the entire team. And yes, they've collected $125,325.
Wow.
That's nothing to sneeze at.
No.
So
it's a lot of burgers.
You better believe it. That is a lot of burgers. So those are your news headlines this morning. Have a fantastic weekend.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday, and you can catch Sandy coming up on Bobo 89.
All right, folks. Good morning. Happy Friday. How are you beautiful people doing? Lovely, I hope. We're going to get the show started here now in just a couple seconds.
Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman,
live, direct.
It's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
All right, good morning. Good morning, beautiful people. How's everybody doing today? It's Friday. What a lovely day outside. I thought we were going to get a little bit of rain today this morning. Early morning. I heard a little bit of crackling, like thunder's far, far away. But it looks pretty sunny, so maybe they'll roll through. You know, it's summertime, and of course, we know that means hurricane season has already started. And in addition to that, if you guys went to Florida recently, you'll see that Florida, which is the hurricane capital of the world, South Florida, has had some really, well, I don't want to say unusual because they happen during the summer all the time, but they've had these summertime thunderstorms. So a few Caymanians were there over this past long holiday weekend, and they were saying the exact same thing. They're like, ooh, Sandy, we had some weather rolling through the Miami area. So always be careful. Obviously, if you're doing a lot of driving in Miami, interstate driving and so on, you want to really take your time there because the roads are unforgiving. And I should say that the drivers are also nowhere near as forgiving. They're not giving you a bly, honey child. They run you over. So we got some news to talk about, as usual. Lots of things happening around us. Let's say good morning to everyone who is on the live stream that is saying good morning to us. Why do I look a little bit? I look like I got a tan today. Am I the only one that thinks I got a tan? Miss Vernita is here. Diamond Princess, Miss Morna, good morning to you. Siobhan is here. First Lady Jayanne, first row and center. They're like my perfect pupil students, always on good behavior. Miss Stephanie says good morning to everybody and the CMR crew. Miss Rosemary is here, wishing everyone a blessed Friday. Wee, Felicia, Everton, Patricia, good morning. Keisha, Marshall, Siobhan, and Miss Iva. Welcome, one and all, and lots more. How do y'all just sit back and you're like quiet as a church mouse, as they say? You're just listening. Well, what a show yesterday. I mean, the comments continued to roll in. My goodness, such a sad situation. I really hope that, some people can start to live their lives. At the end of the day, we have all made our fair share of mistakes, especially in matters of the heart. I mean, good grief, we know how that goes. But if you're not capable of ever learning, something's wrong. And it can't be by the time you're in like relationship number 10 listen, there's nothing wrong with having a lot of relationships. I'm not necessarily saying that. I mean, maybe you just like to, engage in having your toes dipped by other people. I don't know. But, when you keep having these relationships with the same type of people, and the same countrymen and the same, and it's like divorce after divorce after divorce after divorce, might be time to look in the mirror. You know how I see divorces? I don't think a divorce is necessarily an indication of a failure, right? So if you've been married, some of these celebrity divorces, 27 years, 30 years, whatever. I'm like, wow, they lasted long in Hollywood, honey child, because there are certain things that take a strain on a relationship, finances, being a celebrity, living that Hollywood lifestyle, whatever. Those types of relationships are very difficult to maintain for a lot of different reasons, right? And so if you make it to 27, 30 years, I'm like, yeah, you know what? You did A-okay. Even if you make it to 10 years, I'm like, that's nothing to sneeze at, honey child. That's 10 years. That's a long time. So I always encourage people to not necessarily see your divorces as a failure because, hopefully you've learned something. You spent a lot of good times with that person, maybe some bad times as well. And you've learned something or some things from that relationship that then make you a better person. So that when the next relationship comes around, you know how to choose better, because I think a lot of it has to do with the actual choices that we make. Sometimes we're just really poor at picking people. That's why, kind of low key, I really kind of believe in arranged marriages up to a point. Like, I can see how arranged marriages make a lot of sense. I told you guys my first boyfriend was from Sri Lanka, and in his culture, there's a lot of arranged marriages. And one day, obviously we were not in an arranged marriage, but he said something to me that really made me pause. And he said, Sandy, you can actually learn to love someone. And of course, we grew up in this Western culture of thinking, oh, no, you can't. You either love somebody or you don't. Like love is, you can't control who you love. And he's like, that's not true. I said, of course you can control who you love. It is a matter of choice. And you get up every single day and you do things with a person and for a person, and you engage with them that makes your heart grow fonder. And, they might do things that make your heart grow fonder as well. But love is actually a choice. And I was so young at the time that I was kind of like still not really accepting that concept. But I think over the years, I have matured enough to really understand exactly what he meant. You can learn to love someone. And so I think that sometimes we need to reevaluate even why we are attracted to certain people. This love at first sight concept really doesn't hold much scientific water. And a lot of times what we need to do is look at people a little bit more objectively at what it is that they're bringing to the table. And what do we have that we're bringing to the table in terms of our personality, common interests? These things matter. And, there's a saying that opposites attract. Well, the only question I have is for how long? Because the truth of the matter is, the more you have in common, the less likely you have anything to be fighting about. So I get it. I get arranged marriages. If you come from similar religious backgrounds, well, there you go. That's one conversation you're never going to have because you both believe in, I don't know, Buddha, or you're both, Methodist Christians or whatever. There's going to be no friction there, honey child. You come from similar socioeconomic backgrounds. Money's not going to be a problem. You both grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth. Well, that lifestyle, and you got to just make sure you can earn it to maintain it. You both grew up poor. Well, you both understand poverty. Now imagine what happens when you take a rich person and a poor person, you throw them together, right? One has a very different appreciation and understanding of money. And the other person trying to spend all your money, might make you broke in no time. So that might cause a lot of conflict in relationships. Age. We all say, oh, but age is just a number. Is it really? Because the broader the age gap between individuals, the less likely you're going to have anything in common. So here you are, 25 years old, looking at a 75-year-old man. What's the conversations like? What are y'all talking about exactly? Let's put the sex aside. What are you talking about with a 75-year-old man that's going to be of interest to both of you? He's lived literally an entire lifetime ahead of you. Historically, you might not even appreciate some of the things that he would have gone through. I speak a little bit from experience because I actually remember my husband, Dave, he was 15 years older than me. And again, you're young, you think, age is but a number. And he was at the point in his life where he was still, young, active, whatever. Like that wasn't the issue. No Viagra needed or anything like that. But as I stayed in the relationship longer, there were certain things that I recognized, like even with technology, as technology came more and more into its own, and we had things like cell phones and emails and whatever, I got sick and tired of showing this dude how to check his friggin' emails. I'm like, dude, I'm not your IT assistant. Like, because it wasn't even anything complex. It was so rudimentary. Gosh, I got to show you how to check your email again. What's wrong with you? But it's just that, that 15 years made a difference in the gap of what he understood in terms of technology and how easily or not he was able to adapt to it. And it wasn't easy for him. And he also had very different experiences. He had traveled more. He was in the Air Force, had been all over Japan and Okinawa and this place and that place and had seen a lot more. And when you meet someone, I think those things you're interested in, especially if you haven't done them, those stories really like, oh, wow, that's so interesting and whatever. But then the common ground, you got to find common ground. Good morning, Patricia, Aliano, Irvelin, Miss Bonnie's here. Good morning, Marquette. Why do I hear Zeus barking? Miss Stacy, I think Zeus has on that training collar. Somebody needs to get him under control. I told y'all that he went to training class, and I have noticed that while he was at training camp, his barking has reduced a little bit. But this morning he seems to be barking down the place, honey chill. Buzz him with that collar for me. He is a bit more mannered, I was getting to say. But he's still a puppy, so we're gonna give him a lot of grace. He's still a youngin'. All right, Siobhan says making mistakes and owning up and changing it are different things. Just saying. Sometimes marriages don't work out, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not gonna kill anybody because their marriage didn't work out. I'm like, hey, it happens. Whatever. Aliano says men and women need to learn of what is most needed in a relationship, and that's love, respect, loyalty, and tolerance. The slackness is prominent. Well, that's for sure, especially on this island. We have a lot of slackness on this island when it comes to extramarital relations. It's a pretty high number from what I understand. Hot mess. One day we need to have like a relationship guru on so we can talk about some of these things. Because love, I noticed that you put love there, but love isn't the top thing at all that make relationships work. But I like how you included tolerance, because trust me, it is difficult. You've lived with yourself your entire life. You've not lived with anybody else your entire life. Maybe your parents, I guess, if you still live with them. But it is difficult to actually live and get along with people, is it not? I've always found that I don't really like people in my personal space. So I tolerate relationships, like I tolerate that person. But, it would be challenging for me to invite anybody else into into my personal space. I'm just reading a message here and I'm like, huh? Hold on now. All right, so trying to do a donation this morning, but I'm a little bit confused here. I donate some food. Miss Stacy is going to do the donation. She's like, listen, I'm not driving, knocking on this person's door, waking them up to give them food. They better get up out of their bed and meet me up the street. And I certainly understand the sentiment. People like, Sandy, yes, I'd like you to donate some food, some gift cards, but you need to deliver it all the way, this place, that place. And I'd be like, now you're asking a little bit too much, honey Jill. Good morning, Miss Dean. Miss Dean says, indeed, love is a choice. And she's sending love to the CMR community this morning. Yeah. Siobhan says, as you age, you should be getting more mature to getting more wisdom. But unfortunately, people only sometimes age, but not mature or get wisdom. Well, we saw that in display yesterday. It's unfortunate. And, that is why I just leave people in their space. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all yesterday, you don't have a choice who you're family to, but you have a choice of who you engage with. And so, it is what it is. And I don't have to engage with any of these people, just because you're my sister doesn't mean I have to like you, doesn't mean that we have to be friends, and doesn't mean that I'm going to really make a whole lot of time for you. That might sound a little bit harsh, but that's to protect my own mental sanity. And believe me, in a lot of instances, it's required. A lot of people related to yesterday's conversation. I had some other family members who were messaging me and saying, wow, their heart was so heavy with what they were hearing. And they're like, we've had a really hard life when you look at it. And we went through a lot of heavy stuff. And, they said that it's just it just is what it is. My thing is you just got to let it go. Like holding on to trauma and to bad people and bad vibes isn't going to bode well in the end. Of course, it's not easy. Nobody's sitting here saying, "Oh, that's a walk in the park." You probably need a therapist to really try to work through it. But do what you got to do to move past it. Because I think that that is really um, in your best interests. There's certain people who have character traits, even in my own family, that really bother me. And you guys know how much I despise a liar. And there's certain people that live their lives very, very dishonestly. I mean, they lie upon lie upon lie. I even heard a voice note yesterday that was being circulated by my dear sister claiming that I did not, what was the term that she used? I did not consult with her, some foolishness, before the show yesterday. And I thought, wow. I said, well, that's funny because I have proof and I have the messages and voice notes to prove that I did reach out to her. And I said, this is going to be, on the show because it's going viral like hotcakes. And she was sending me this message about, oh, I'm disappointed that you would put this on the show and I'm your sister. And this, and I'm like, what does that have to do with the price of rice in China? It ain't got nothing to do with it just because you're my sister. I wish you'd stay out of these streets and just behave, but that ain't got nothing to do with me now, does it? So then to turn around the next day and, say negative things about me. I heard the voice notes. Obviously, people are going to forward it to me. I'm not concerned about the negativity when it isn't true, but I'm disappointed because, of course, like I said, I have the truth. I have evidence, right? Some people, I just, you know what? Have no expectations of them. That's why you put them on the outskirts. The people that I have expectations of are the people I actually care about. I expect them to live up to my expectations. Some of these other jokers, that's exactly what they are, jokers. So someone stopped me yesterday and they were like, oh, well, one time she told us this story. There was a group of us somewhere and she told us the story about how you had to be brought back to Cayman because you were raped and living under a bridge and homeless in Tampa. I was like, what? This is the first I've ever heard this one. I got to admit, I was like, huh? Okay, well, first of all, I've never lived under a bridge. I've never been raped and I've never been homeless. We've had some tough times. We've sometimes wondered where the next meal was coming from, but we were not homeless ever. And that's because I moved out of my aunt's house and decided to forge my own way, get my education. And that was not an easy journey because all of a sudden I didn't have someone handing me everything. But that decision was made because I needed personal freedom and I was not getting that. As a young person, you need the freedom to be able to grow and to learn and to make your own mistakes. And that just wasn't happening in the environment that I was in. There was too much control. And so people have their own versions of events. And sometimes people apparently just make things up completely. I don't understand it because I'm not sure how they benefit. I guess they're trying to say that they were my saving grace. I'm like, that is so untrue. Before I moved back to Cayman, I was already married. Dave and I came explore the island because I hadn't lived here. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this place. Although it's my home, it's my country. I still don't know. So we came back for a week, checked it out. I'm like, okay, do you think you could live here? It's a small place. And he, of course, Americans, all he saw was the beach, sun and fun, and like, yep, we can do it. Of course, I was thinking more like, oh, community, family. Am I ready for this? And so, the plans were put in place. And if you guys know me, you know what? I'm a planner. I like to organize my things. And so everything was organized. Shipping this, shipping that, arranging your dogs to come. So I'm like, I was homeless with my 2 dogs and a husband. Like this storyline doesn't even make any sense. Sometimes you can't entertain people in their foolishness. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And, people want to take credit for stuff that they had nothing to do with. No, nobody is self-made. But I can tell you that some family members who want to take credit for anything that they feel like I've achieved in life, they need to go. They're not even in this classroom, honey child. They're in another country, sit all the way in the back of that classroom in another country. Because you're kidding yourself. You're a liar. You're delusional. Yeah? The struggles that we endure. And then when people want to somehow diminish that by wanting to take credit for, oh, well, I did this for her and I did that. No, you didn't, honey child. You even lifted a finger. Oh, when I was 5 years old, you picked me up and put me in your back and took me across the street. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's great. Thanks. Pat yourself on the back over there, child. Okay, honey child. You go right ahead. RD says, unfortunately, too many Caymanian women fall into lust first with useless, no good men, and somehow they continue to make the same mistake over and over again. It's the very definition of insanity, RD, and I agree. I don't even know if it's lust. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's just like a fantasy thing. Somebody buy you a few drinks and you're like in love already. Natasha says mutual compromise and communication is key, but understanding each other's love languages and adapting is also very important. Ooh, honey child, you my kind of girl, Natasha. Have you read about the love languages? Yes. Most Caribbean men, they don't want to read nothing about relationships. I'm going to tell y'all about a really good book. We need to get this book club going. Where is my book here? There's very few physical books that I keep. So if you see me got a physical book, you know it is good. So I can't put my finger on it, but it's called The Rules of Love, I believe. And of course, the love language is one. I forced my husband before we were married to have me read that to him. Child, we were on vacation in Panama, and he's like, why are you reading me this book? I said, you've got to listen and indulge me in this a little bit. And then we talk about it, right? Like, what do you think your love language is? Well, for me, I know I'm a giver. I show and demonstrate my love through things that I do for people. I love to give people like little trinkets. I'm a present person. I love giving and just making people happy in that way. For me, my love language is more verbal, right? So I need to hear certain things from an individual, but then I also need that like personal time spent in contact with that person as well. So, I think that we have to know what it is that we want ourselves. Like, you have to know yourself to know what a good partner looks like for you. And I think that maybe that's part of the problem, is that some of us don't necessarily know who we are. And so that causes chaos, and that's problematic. And I also think that I don't know, like, some people are just not capable of growth, Natasha. Like, I love that you're talking about your love language, but I also accept that not everybody is capable of growth. Dean says, same here, Sandy. I don't like nobody in my personal space. Well, I limit who's in my personal space because they impact your mental health and well-being. We see people all the time struggling with mental health issues. And sometimes it's because you're allowing other people to bring a lot of negativity into your life. And that's just not, I'm not going to give you that pleasure. I don't even know if pleasure is the right word, but I'm not going to give, that's a gift, who you spend your time with. And so I'm not going to give that to just any and everybody. Jim says honesty, compromising, supporting, and patience without losing oneself in the process of any relationship. Very, very important. Siobhan says nothing harsh about that. A lot of times you got to put yourself first. Absolutely. Sia says, this is why an older man chooses a younger woman, because that's most men's preferred choice. Well, I think people need to choose age-appropriate individuals. We'll get to the robberies here in just a second, Leroy. Leroy says, I'm in the back of the class again today. Dean says, yesterday was real, and I think a lot of men and women should learn from yesterday's episode. Natasha says, we're glad you came back. This island needed you. Aw, thank you, Natasha. It hasn't been an easy journey coming back for more reasons than one. Because I had grown up overseas, I had to almost find my Caymanian girl. She was in there, but she doesn't have a lot of like the shared experiences because I didn't really grow up here. Like I left when I had just turned 9 years old. So a lot of like teenage, formative years, young adult, I had those experiences elsewhere. But I think that in a lot of respects that was actually a really good thing. It gives me a perspective on a lot of things, right? So, but there's so many things that are uniquely Caymanian that I love. I think that I went to the bank yesterday and I was sitting there and I heard a Caymanian gentleman talking to another guy. And he was talking, we name names and talking about these experiences and stuff. And it's just so talking about how we used to be so connected. And he feels like we've lost a sense of connectivity. But he was talking about this. And I was just like, I just loved hearing the stories. That's why I love the Cayman Voices series. Because I love storytelling and I love people to share what we used to be like. I mean, obviously we can't stay a particular way all the time, but we have lost some things that I think it would be nice if we could just hold on to. And so he was talking about, how we were so incredibly connected. And I just loved hearing him in that moment, hearing that Caymanian accent, even though we were like in a business place in the bank, it was just a moment when I was like, yes. And I love that it was like Cayman National Bank, These are like the little nuggets of who we are as a people that I think is so amazing. Leroy says, I'm scraping the table with a compass. A compass is in the newspaper or the other kind of compass. Jim says, family dynamics are interesting, especially sibling dynamics. Some are loving while others are a bit over the top. I love my family, however. I feel the best way of handling the over-the-top ones is to wish them well and permit them to live their lives from a distance. Amen. That's some good sound advice there, Jim. I agree with you 1,000%. Johan says, will today's show top yesterday's complete madness? If not, I got to focus on work. Yes, you need to focus on work, Johan. Takes many failures to find success in life, says Natasha Aliano. Some people give too much to people who are emotionally lacking. I think the truth of the matter is sometimes people are just not up to it themselves. They're looking for this ideal relationship, but they themselves don't have a whole lot to offer. So they're not going to find much, if you know what I'm saying. Johan says, Auntie Sandy, you need to try to become a Christian like the rest of your family after yesterday and repent. Well, child, like I said before, if that is what Christianity looks like, we are doomed. The good Lord is going to have to scrap it and start all over again, honey child. She did say she'd be trying to be a Christian, but I'm like, it's a question of how hard you're trying, my dear. Damaris says, Miss Sandra speaking facts and indulging us in wisdom. Got to love this. Thank you, my darling. Tamara, good morning. She says, good morning, Sandy. Sending hello from Alaska. What? Celebrating my 40th birthday with friends on a cruise. Happy birthday. Alaska. Now that's how you do it, girl. Chloe, Miss Morna, Alejandro is here. Yes, happy birthday, Miss Beulah. I'm trying to get you that mug, but I didn't have time to drop it off yesterday. So today I should. Miss Melita, I saw you calling me, but I was trying to get the baby to bed. We've got Natasha says I grew up in the States too, and the first time I moved down here, I lasted for 6 months. It's a huge adjustment, but I do love our island and heritage, and best people in the world just need our community back. Yes, indeed. All right, 2 quick notes while our guests are getting ready. So we had several robberies last night. It didn't take long for people to start messaging me to say what's going on. Something down by Lantern Point, and then something in town. The police were out and about, honey child. They were busy. Wow. Let me show you all some of why they're busy. These robbers, and I think it's the same group in this instance, they were making their presence known. So apparently they robbed Burger King, or they attempted to rob Burger King first. Didn't really have any success there. And then turned around and went to McRuss where they got some money. It's so unfortunate because, you know, at the end of the day, these small businesses are just like the rest of us. They're struggling to make ends meet. They're struggling to pay the bills, to keep people employed. And it's just really, really sad when robbers come along and decide to take advantage of the situation. Now, I heard a voice note where somebody said, oh, yeah, these young boys, they don't want to give them no job and they want to help them with this and that. Let me make myself clearer than clear. I hope I can be crystal clear. Y'all need to stop it. Stop making excuses for no good young men. They might be young men, but they're still no good, who have no interest in working. Oh, we must give them life on a silver platter, apparently. We must give them a job. We must give them this, give them that. No. You see, as parents, when we send out that narrative into the community, we become part and parcel of the problem. Okay? You know how many young people hear those voices and think, oh yeah, okay, well, I can go rob the local fast food chain, and my grandmother and my aunt can be like, yeah, that's because they don't want to give them a job. You know, these young people so frustrated. Really? A lot of us grew up frustrated, poorer than these little hoodlums in the streets right now. And we weren't out there robbing people, stealing from people and all kind of stuff. We were out there trying to better ourselves. You think when I was in university and I didn't know where the next meal was coming from, it popped into my head that, oh, I could go rob the convenience store to get some money. I could go rob the Burger King, and that's okay because, you know, I don't have the money I need for the weekend. These types of excuses that we are giving our young people who are unfortunately destroying our country is absolutely ridiculous. Stop making excuses for these badass wannabe criminals. Right? Wouldn't it be wonderful as a community if we sent a singular message? You're destroying our country and we're not going to tolerate it. Run them down with the car, yes? They walk past you in the Burger King trying to, you know, rob the cashier, and you can put out your foot and trip them up, make them bust their lip. Do it. Zero tolerance for this kind of foolishness. But you see, this is really the crux of the problem with Caymanians, you know. We cloak up too much wrongdoing in foolishness and then wonder why our country is going to hell in a handbasket. Y'all want the truth? Y'all can't handle the truth. But y'all can get it because this shows the cold hard truth. Yes, JD. He says most of them don't want a job. No, it's easy for them to walk into McRuss, take $300, $400, $500 in the till and walk out. What job are they going to be able to do that with? Tell me that. They can't do that with no job. We are condoning and creating a society of criminals, irresponsible young people, and we're giving them every excuse in the book to continue in this egregious bad behavior. Y'all put your foot down with some of your own children a little bit more, we'd have less criminals running these streets. Parents themselves don't even want to raise their children. I'm not surprised when we see some of what we're seeing going on in these streets. But it's very, very disheartening. You know, every time they go rob these people, the staff are traumatized, having a gun pushed in their face, you know, get on the ground, all this kind of stuff. The businesses losing money, they're traumatized. Some have to add security, change business hours, all sorts of stuff because of criminals running out in these streets. So don't y'all be sending me no fool messages about, oh, these young boys, you know, they can't find a job. Really? Have they even tried? Are they out there really trying? They're not. These guys don't want to work. They rob a place once a week and they're set. Stop engaging in stupidity. Here's the first batch. Was this Burger King or the other one? Here we go. Have a look at this. This is Burger King. They drive up in this blue-looking SUV. I can't quite make it out. But listen, somebody should be able to zoom in on that camera. See license plate. So very possible it's a stolen what do you call it? Vehicle. So that may not help a whole lot. I think businesses like Burger King, after a certain time at night, they're going to have to start locking the doors. Of course, then they'll just start doing the robberies earlier. As we can see with the one with Digicel some weeks back, 6 o'clock in the evening. Who the hell is going to lock the door at 6 o'clock? These guys are reckless. And I honestly feel that we need to start increasing some sentencing as well. You getting 10 years for a firearm? You know, we need to maybe make that a minimum of 15 years. Yeah, we have to start building more prisons, but y'all see what they're doing in Nicaragua right now with that super prison that they built? I'm going to talk about that next week. So here they are, Robert getting out of the vehicle, coming with his little backpack in hand, gun, hoodie on. Now, some of you have got to be, here comes the next fatty. See him there? All right. Stop that right there. Stop it. Stop that camera right there. So you see this hoodie? Boom. Hold on. Boom. You see that shirt right there? Somebody right now, that looks like, is that Bob Marley? I don't know which person that is in the back. Somebody right now has a son that has this shirt and you've seen him wear it and you know he has that body type. Y'all need to call Crime Stoppers. You need to call 911. You need to say, hello, that's my uncle. That's my brother. I don't care who he is. Someone can recognize this little chubby one for sure. Call it in, give him up, and report him. I've already received one tip where the person says, I think I know exactly who one of those robbers are. I say, pass it on to the police, honey child. Somebody knows these guys. Y'all know exactly who they are. Look at the shoes. The shoes, do the shoes look familiar? Right? This hoodie almost looks like, is it pink or gray? It almost has like a little pink tinge to it. Y'all have to look very closely at these things. The one that robbed the convenience store last week had a very distinctive backpack. Go and have a look at that backpack. Somebody has seen that backpack before. Right? See how he's getting out? Look at his gait, his walk. You see him? Somebody knows who these guys are. And you just got to take a good, close look. Yep. See that little belly fat there? This one overweight. He chubby. He shouldn't be too hard to identify. There you go. Trying to pull down his little hoodie. You hear the poor staff screaming on the inside. My God. And he got flat feet. That's right. I noticed that too. El Racer, he walks flat-footed. He sure does. Mm-hmm. See? See how he walk? Yeah, buddy. He walks flat-footed and a little bit like this. He doesn't walk straight. So, again, sometimes you can't walk, you know. I mean, you can't hide for how you walk. I've had people identify who I'm family to by my walk. Did I tell y'all this story years ago? I was walking by the airport and this guy's like, Miss, I don't know you, you know, but I think you for Yorick Solomon. And I was like, yeah. Oh boy, you walk just like him. You can't hide. This little fat boy walking like somebody too. He can't hide. Have a good look at him, folks. You must know him. So, attempted robbery at the Burger King. I don't know why they weren't successful, but this was at 21:30. What time is that in the evening? So they went from there. Maybe this one was look at how he's walking out disappointed. You see how he's like slouching? Little fat guy again. Look how he walks out slouching like, oh man, I can't get no money. This is messed up. Come on, let's go. Let's go check McRuss, honey chow. That little one, he run a little bit quicker around the corner. And then they went from that to McRuss. Let me show you the footage at McRuss. Same two robbers. Hold on one second now. Let me get y'all. Oh yes, hold on. Let me show you this one too. Of them on the inside. You see? Check out the backpack. The staff, I think, ran in the back is what happened. Nobody, not there. And he's hitting on the glass. Look at the idiot. That's why they gave up. The staff, I guess, saw them as they came in the door, ran in the back, ran away, and then nobody not there to get them the money. And the glass, COVID glass saved them. The COVID glass is up. So there he is trying to push up against the plastic. Looks like it's actually plastic. So he get frustrated. These are the little criminals y'all talking about want a job. They don't even have the endurance to carry out a robbery properly. Look at how quickly he got, well, thank God in a way, but I mean, honestly, look at how quickly he even got frustrated. He not got no stick with it this. He's like, oh, you don't want to just hand me the money? Well, I'm going. Gosh darn it, I'm out of here. I'm going to go somewhere else. Poor him. Joker. And y'all talking about these are the people that that we should be. Thank you, my good friend. He says 21:30 is 9:30. I would have had to figure that one out in my head. All right, so So let me see here now. Here's the other one now from, hold on, let me download this one. This one is from McRuss. And like I said, unsuccessful at Burger King. So then they move on. And here it is now. So Tracy says sentencing won't make a difference if they don't get caught. Well, believe it or not, a lot of them do get caught. And one of the reasons why we see this cycle of, okay, it starts up again, because it's normally in line with when they get out or they're out on bail, they're continuing to do these things. I think we also need to look at the bail conditions. In law, there's a presumption in favor of bail, but I think that has to be changed. Seriously. So, same vehicle, same fatty and his friend. See him there? Same walk, I'm telling you, the way to solve this one with the fat one is his walk. He has an unusual gait. Yeah? Some family member can look at this little tumbler and say, that is my son. He walked just like me, or he walked just like his daddy. Y'all see it? Look carefully. Even this one has a kind of lackadaisical, but that one, y'all know exactly who he is. And you find him, you pressure him, you can get the next one. The next one, look at him dropping money, So stupid. Yep, looking underneath the register. Oh, at least he picked it up. Y'all have to know who these are. And I think the way to solve this one is the big bobo. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something about him, honey child. And it's the other one that's carrying the gun. Right? Is that a customer just walking around not even realizing what's happening? Good Lord. All right. I feel confident that somebody gonna bring these guys to justice. Seem to. What a mess. All right, folks. Let's move on. We've got some guests in the studio. First of all, the person said that the store, this was at 9:36, and the store was full of customers. So this is Eastern Avenue. So literally, they went straight from Burger King at 9:30, and in 6 minutes, they made it to McRuss on Eastern Avenue. That's probably about right that time of night. Having said that, this is kind of easy for the RCIPS from the perspective of these CCTV cameras, because quite honestly, they can only take so many routes in that amount of time from Burger King waterfront to Eastern Avenue McRuss. So pull those cameras quick time, honey child. Charlene says, Chubby, something is wrong with his right foot. I don't know if there's anything wrong with it. I think maybe that's just the way that he walks, but he definitely looks a little bit different in the gait. So I say somebody knows him. Good morning, Denny.
Buenos dias.
How are you?
Not bad. I wonder how come they're just able to walk around so nonchalantly.
As opposed to
resistance.
And what kind
if you're able to just walk around and take whatever you want, why wouldn't you come back in the future and for more?
Okay. And your recommendation for resistance would be?
My recommendation would be that people prepare themselves and resist it.
How?
By force.
What kind of force? What kind of force?
The same kind of force that the police would use if the police were present.
Which would be, what do you think the police would do?
They'd point their finger at them and say, stop.
That's going to solve it?
Yeah, that's going to solve it.
Oh, okay.
That's the foolishness we're doing right now. We're sitting down, we're watching crime get out of control, and we're doing nothing about it. Listen.
Yes.
We're going to piss around with this issue of crime until it really gets out of control.
Well, I think a lot of us feel like that's already out of control now.
No. You take a look to the east, about 280 miles, and you'll understand what out of control means.
Is that America?
No.
But America is out of control too
north.
When it comes to crime.
America's north.
Yes, I know, Denny. But America is out of control too when it comes to crime. I'm being facetious.
I know.
July 4th and July 5th holiday weekend. How many people were gunned down and killed in the United States of America? Yes, Jamaica has its crime. Honduras have their crime. You know, not safe. But you're afraid to go to a mall in America too. I'm just saying.
Okay, so what do you do? Sit down and
well, I'm not no, but I'm just saying, you know, when you talk about a solution, because I know what your recommendation is going to be, the use of firearms. I'm saying America has more firearms than Quaker has oats. And still that's not slowing down crime. That's not stopping crime. That's not stopping armed robberies. That's not.
No, what's causing the issue is the increased difficulty. Okay, I'm not saying that the criminals don't have a personal responsibility. They obviously do.
Well, we can't expect too much of criminals, but I think as a community and as a society, we have a responsibility. And the problem is this, Danny, we can't allow crime to get out of control, right? With no mechanisms on the, but hold on, you're talking about after, when they're out there robbing somebody, what do? What do we do on the front end to try to stop criminals from becoming criminals, to stop young men and women from becoming criminals in the first place? If their first grade teacher can say to you, right, with 96% accuracy, this one, and this one is going to end up in jail. They're going to be in and out of the penal system. How do you think they can do that with such accuracy? They're not psychics. It's because the signs are there for criminality from an early age. Why are we not focusing more on things like the Yolanda Ford report, which talks about the elements of criminality, how we've gotten here, and those things don't change? And why aren't we trying to fix them? Our education system is broken.
Oh, I agree with that.
Right? Our homes are broken. Parents don't want to be parents. They spend more time and energy putting on an outfit that only covers part of their privates to go to Badabanu than spending time and energy on their children.
I agree.
So we can listen. If the solution is to have everybody armed and gun them down in the streets, that's not solving the crime. That's at the tail end of it. You tell people, oh, well, resist and fight. And you know what happens when everybody's armed and everybody's resisting and fighting? You just have more people losing their lives.
And so what your solution is for us to sit there and just accept it.
No.
That's your solution.
My solution is
No. I know you think that we can start over at a
nobody said anything about starting over, but we have to start somewhere. And it's a multifaceted solution. There's no singular solution to this.
I agree with you that is part of the solution. However,
well, it's a big part of it.
You look at what's happening in education. You know what the failure rate is in the government primary schools?
And so what are we going to do about that?
Well, I agree with you that that's part of the solution. But that's not going to stop the people who are not in primary school.
Yes, but you need opportunities across the board to address different people. So agree. Just like you address young people before they even have children, because they're the ones who are having children then become criminals and the penal system, right?
Yes.
There has to be programs and initiatives throughout the life cycle of individuals. Some of these people are committing crimes because they're trying to fuel a drug problem. We need to have drug addiction programs that can help those individuals if they are willing to accept the help.
We have all of that.
We really?
Yeah, the court has programs to help people.
What's the program? We don't even have a proper mental health facility that we can't get open 20 years later.
Listen, it's not all perfect. I agree with all of that. Okay, but what you have to understand is that these people that you just showed the video of are not in primary school. They're not in high school.
No, I understand.
Causing a problem.
Right.
So what you're going to need to do to deal with these is different from what you're going to have to do when someone is 5 years old.
Absolutely.
Okay, well.
And the first thing that has to happen to these guys is they have to be punished for what they did.
Okay. And how do you punish them?
There's something called jail.
The jail is fine if you catch them, but the people who are being punished when you put people in jail is you and me.
Well, what's your solution?
What do you mean, what's my solution?
You're not going to put them in jail because you're punishing you and me?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But if you think that all you're going to do is sit down and accept them walking in and taking whatever you have, what's going to happen is it's going to get worse because you're encouraging.
But let me say this, right? The best thing last night with the Burger King staff is that they went and ran and hid. Encouraging people to fight criminals who are potentially armed with a gun is taking your own life and putting it in the hands of someone who don't have no sense. You do not fight. You do not fight these individuals.
Can you go back to the video at McRuss where the guy was at the register taking out the money?
Okay.
I want to show you something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having a situation where you allow people to come in and just take the money is just an invitation for them to return.
And your suggestion is
pause the video.
Your suggestion is what?
Pause the video. Pause it. Go back to where the guy was just about to leave the cash register.
So we're fast forwarding it.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Just move it just a little bit from that position.
And we do have 3 other callers in the line, by the way, Denny. And our guests are waiting. All right. So pause it there. Where he's about to leave?
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see the front of that gun right there?
Mm-hmm.
That gun is unloaded.
So you're saying that the gun is unloaded?
Yeah.
So people who are in a traumatic situation,
I understand.
You expect them to be looking that closely at the gun?
No.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is that you need people dealing with this situation that understand these situations.
Mm-hmm. Because
I don't expect a cashier to do that. No, I
right. Don't. Okay. So once you see the gun is not loaded, then you are in a position to do something more about him.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it.
But that's not the only scenario.
Okay. Let's get to our other callers.
All right.
Hello.
All right. Hello. Good morning. Miss Darlene, hold on. I think Miss Charlene was up next. Miss Charlene?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Both of them mug and the ginger tea now. They started good. 2 favorite people up in argument, and you always learn something right there.
Mm-hmm.
So good morning to EW Jr.
Good morning.
And the only person you needed right in that little mesh right there was Mr. Johan Moxham. It would have been perfect.
Oh,
Yes,
Lord.
sir. I can't believe that they robbed one of my favorite little stores, and this it breaks my heart because this is a Cayman success story
Mm-hmm.
from where they started from the father, from the daddy of the guys, you know, just striking the right balance at a time when the iron was hot. He got his stuff done. Little money was flowing in. The mama jumped on it because that's how she is. This whole operation called Macras is a local success story that should be heralded. And
Mm-hmm.
I just love going into the store because Mr. Macras himself is a young person, and Mrs. Macras is a pure business person. I mean, business person. You go in there, if your shoes are ragged and your hair is falling out from your little add-on, she don't care. She treating you like a king, like a queen. It's a business place. It's a Cayman. That's a place you should go for one of your interviews. It's a Cayman success story, and I'm just so sad this morning. And I really hope it wasn't our guys, meaning I hope it wasn't our children. But plastered on the mothers and the fathers and especially the womb carriers, that would be the mothers. And I thank you for taking that angle. I myself have put on my shoes, tie up my head, and walk down to the police station
Mm-hmm.
and gave up what I pushed, as Consuelo would say, what I squeezed out into this world. It's
Mm-hmm.
not an easy thing. It wasn't something like armed robbery, but I'm glad back in the day he didn't get that far.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, mothers, it's your duties because they're out there on the streets and they're going to die. I decided I didn't want mine in a coffin under the ground. I would walk Saturdays and Sundays and go northward. And I did that.
Mm-hmm.
I put out on Shanksmere and sometimes I walked far
Mm-hmm.
before I could get a ride, before anybody would feel sorry for me. And going in that northward lane, it is hot. The Cayman is a hot country. I walked in, and most times I walk back out. And I did it most weekends. I didn't miss many.
Okay. Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Miss Darlene, you're next. Enter our next caller. Just hang tight.
Okay.
We soon come to you.
Yeah. Okay, so short. Yes, I don't agree. Most of the times agree with Danny, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't see that as being something that we should really be thinking about. If there's anything, maybe security guards, maybe trained and
Mm-hmm.
firearms and some, so forth. But what I think, and yes, touching what Charlene said, if we see our kids doing wrong,
Mm-hmm.
you see something, you say something. That is what's gonna come down to. And I was just talking to another Caymanian this morning and saying, this is not a good situation that we're in, and we need to take things in our own hands.
Mm-hmm.
And saying that, I don't mean stand up in front of a gun. I mean we get together as a community. We first of all teach our children purpose. You have to have a purpose in life. You know, if they do something wrong, you're gonna suffer the consequences. Whether
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna go to jail, and like Charlene said, better to go to jail than to go Prospect or West Bay, Cemetery, Bordentown, wherever, to visit them. So what I would like to suggest is that like-minded people, like people that have our country at heart, whether they're residents or they're born Caymanians or whatever, we have a gem to protect
Mm-hmm.
and we need to step up. Honestly, we're talking about the police, so we're not even looking to them now to help because they don't have that in their heart. And like I say, they don't care what happened to Cayman. Majority of them, because they feel like if one is gone to hell in the basket, then all islands can go right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to take our focus off of what the police are going to do, unless we get a more Caymanized um, roots, rooted Caymanians to do that. And that look like that's not going to happen now. I've been waiting to see if Mr. New Commissioner designate or confirm will come on tell us his plans, their plans. We're not seeing that.
Well, I think he
So
hasn't
what do we
technically
do?
taken over yet. So
Okay, well, hopefully then, we're still waiting on him. But other than that, we need to get together as a country and wipe this out. Because if you got a handful and you got 70,000 people there, that think it's got to be a way for us to hit this in the head. And that's just my thought
all
on it.
right.
Take care. Have a good
Appreciate
weekend,
it.
everyone.
Two more callers on the line. Good morning, caller number 1, ending in 7606.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good morning, Sandy. Okay, two things and I'll make it short. First and foremost, with respect from teaching right and wrong, yes, that's one thing, but desperate times mean desperate measures. And I think, a lot of that, people are driven to do things that they normally wouldn't do. And then second is the vehicle. That vehicle is unique in color as well as the vehicle type. So why, it's not a Honda Fit, it's not a RAV4. Why not go to the DMV, find out the vehicle color and make, and find out the registered owner?
If it's not a stolen vehicle.
I'm sorry?
If it's not a stolen vehicle, we're assuming that the vehicle actually belongs to them.
Well, still, if it is a stolen vehicle, then you would be able to tell the owner that it's being used for a robbery. So it is a unique vehicle, but like I said, teaching right from wrong, and I think us as humans
let me tell you
when we
something,
do
caller.
something wrong. But desperate times need desperate measures.
Yeah,
we're seeing a lot of people in situations where they normally would not do something.
I don't agree with that, but these are criminals who would normally do this. It's just that we have more of them. These guys are not desperate for a real job. They're desperate to be criminals. So I think
took 4 robbers off the street and then 3 more robberies last night. Like this is getting out of control.
That's because there's more of them out there. But I don't think this is a case of desperate times calling for desperate measures, because then we're assuming that these guys are in some sort of financial straits and that they actually have, legitimately wanted to find a job and this is their alternative to employment. Like I said earlier, I think that narrative is a dangerous narrative to put in the community because it simply isn't true. These guys have never held a job. They're not interested in having a job. But let me give you an example. When you talk about the police, somebody just said that they feel like I'm doing more of the police's job than they are. I don't think that that's the case, but I'm going to give you an example of sometimes where they make me shake my head. So someone sent footage of a dash cam capturing video, and I want this person, because apparently the license plate number is a digit off. So I'm going to ask them to, I was trying to find the message, but I'm going to ask them to reach back out to us. So it said, "Morning, Miss Sandy. My dash cam captured this video this morning coming through breakers. 2 cars nearly caused a head-on collision. Silver Honda Fit license plate 175772 and a silver Lexus license plate 20111. What a lick that would have been. The Hyundai is in the other lane, never even budged to come off the road. My goodness," which I don't blame them. So we sent this to the RCIPS. This is what one of their officers responded and said. "The license plate for the Lexus is incorrect with only 5 digits. Checks were made and several Lexuses starting with the number, with that number came up. Please confirm the correct registration." So you can't narrow it down? I mean, when you say several Lexuses starting with that number came up, I can't imagine it's going to be more than 2. And you can't narrow it down by contacting those individuals and speaking to them who was in breakers on that particular day at that particular time. They come back to me and want me to give them the exact license plate number so that this is a no-brainer.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I totally agree with you. Like, I don't understand. And with it being such a small island, how, we're not able to narrow it down, not to mention somebody must know who these people are. And they not talking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll let you go on to the next caller.
Thank you so much. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Miss Sandy. Good morning.
Morning.
It is so sad to hear these things, but sometimes I believe us as a Cayman and lower islands and care about what's going on in our islands, care about the people, care about the children and what's happening to them. I think that when you see something and you report it, the police hold on. Let me write that down. What did you say? And they question you and you question you. And let's say if those people that have been robbed last night had called, if I don't know if they called the police, but people are getting discouraged because the police just ask you questions down to who your great grandfather is. In the meantime, you're being robbed, you're being held up, your life is in danger, your children's life is in danger, your family life is in danger. They need to stop that. If you see a robbery, you don't need to tell them who's reporting it, just the place that it's being robbed. And I don't know what time. I don't know. I hope they got watches, and they hold you up, and then and half an hour after it's all done, then they show up. Now all of them are not alike, because a friend, me and my friend were going somewhere a couple of weeks ago, and we seen a guy beating up a young woman that had looked like she was pregnant, could be about 5 months pregnant. And I didn't stop right there. I stopped a little bit above it and called the police. Mm-hmm. Do you want to leave your name, ma'am? No. Then I had to tell him what part of the road was, if it coming from this end or the next end. In the meantime, he did what he had to do. Mm-hmm. The person did what he had to do, and it gets you so discouraged. Should we even bother to call on them? Should we even, like I said, we can't class them all alike. But
let me say this, right? I guess the police have their protocols, and even 911. You know, you have the option, which they have to give you, of leaving your information if you want. So they can't assume that not every person, wants to leave their number. Some people are more than willing to leave their number. They're more than willing to give police statements and so on to advance the case. So, them asking the question to me is neither here nor there. They can ask, and obviously you have the option of saying yes or no. It's part of their, and I know when you're in a situation, some of you have heard me talk about the young man who fell off of a building. And when I called 911, the kind of questions that they were asking me, I was like, what the hell are you asking me these questions for? But, they have their script book, I suppose, that they have to go by. And we might not always understand why they're asking the questions that they're asking, but, it's part and parcel of the process. So,
believe me, in other places, they don't. Believe me, in other places, they don't. They're there, not after the fact, and then they still, if you give them your number, or you give them your name, or both, then they come and ask you a whole lot of questions instead of going out and see if they can find those people, because it's becoming like an emergency now in this island with all of these break-ins. But the thing is, we have these protocols, we have these laws that's coming out of our ears, and they're not enforced. Throw them in jail for a couple of days or a couple of hours, and they're back out on the street until somebody get killed or many get killed. Then you can hear, poor old thing, he was such a nice person, or she sometimes is mixed up in it too. Nice person and whatnot. I don't understand how these young people that don't want to find a job, not looking hard enough to find a job, how they can wear $200 sneakers, and me that has worked all the days of life and now retired and husband still working, but he's older, can buy a $200 sneakers. I wouldn't even think of that. Wouldn't even think of that.
And again,
But
I say
anyway,
that, the people around them, caller, to your point, they know. Like, listen, if I have a child living in my house and I see this child not wanting for anything, knowing that they don't have a job, they walk around with $200-$300 sneakers. They have, money to buy beers and marijuana and whatever else they're into. You mean to tell me that as a parent, I'm not going to be questioning, where are you getting this money from? And you're living under my roof?
Yes,
this is the community slackness that I'm talking about.
Yes, and I think, and not all Caribbean islands, but I think that's our thing in the Caribbean. Other countries, by the time they finish school, if they don't have good intentions of taking up a profession or going to college, out you go. And even sometime your college that's not an excuse. I'll help you with the college, but you're no longer in my house. But we're not enforcing the law, and that's the whole sense of the story, or that's the way I think about it. Good morning, Sandra, and good morning to all your callers.
Thank you so much. All right, folks, we do have guests who've been patiently waiting to come into the studio. We've got John and Will who are going to be joining us from Home Gas. Before they come on, yesterday, the police, we were messaging them for quite some time saying, hello, when are we going to get an official statement on what the cause of this explosion was? The UK people had long come and gone, the so-called experts, and there was still no indication that a report would be forthcoming. Evidently, they had finally responded and said, oh, yes, the cause of it was an explosion. We have so many more questions that very brief one-sentence press release simply didn't answer. But essentially, they have said that it is a forensic expert says house explosion caused by gas leak, and that's it. Okay. That fulfills, any of you satisfied with that? I'm not satisfied at all. And so we've been meaning for Home Gas, the guys over at Home Gas, to come on from the time that it happened. But of course, they were, knee deep in it and really, really busy. Let's see if they can shed some light on it. And then we'll talk about some general things as it relates to safety and propane. So John and Will, good morning. How are you?
Hello.
How are you doing?
Sorry, Sandy. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay. Good morning, Sandy.
Morning.
Great show so far this morning.
Good. We're going to switch gears a little bit. So, of course, we can't have you on the show, Home Gas, and not talk about, in some capacity, this incident off of Bayfield Crescent. How much can you tell us? Hopefully you can just tell us what it is and what it isn't, but tell us a little bit about what you know, what happened, how is Home Gas connected to the property, if at all?
All right, so we were asked to help facilitate with the police and the fire department the investigation. There was a Home Gas 100-pound cylinder at the back of the house that was connected to the house. That is the full involvement of what equipment Home Gas had at the house. We're not sure who did the installation, but our our equipment was the 100-pound cylinder that was on site at the time of the explosion. So we were involved during the cleanup process, some of the going through the debris, trying to find out. I mean, obviously there was a lot of rumors, as you know, flying around at the time. And we worked with the expert who came down from England. He came, he tested our cylinder. They took a little bit of equipment from the site, the regulator that was on the tank, brought that here. We tested that. Everything appeared to be working, functioning properly. And that's the last we've heard of the investigation, since we're not really part of the investigative team and we're not involved in it. That was the end of our involvement.
Right.
I'm not sure.
So the police never got back to you and said it's a gas leak? Because obviously you guys are in the gas business. I mean, they never came back and said that?
Currently, it's obviously still under investigation. They still haven't released the final report.
Well, they said the final report's done.
Yeah, we haven't seen it, so we wouldn't know. So I mean,
it's just weird that, I mean, they've obviously released a statement to the public, to the media, saying that it was a gas leak, and then the people who are in the gas business don't even know that. But I mean, you obviously carried out your checks on location. Did you find the gas leak? I mean, you checked your let me just back up, because this is also confusing. We saw in the photos that there's a huge cylinder there, right? And then there was like a smaller one. I understand that those cylinders were wasn't even connected, and it wasn't in the part of the house where the explosion happened. Can you explain that to us?
At the site, the house, there was a 420-pound cylinder, the larger cylinder that was not connected to anything, was just shut off in there. And then there was a 20-pound cylinder, what you would call a barbecue cylinder, the little one, that looked like it was for a deep fryer, like one of those outdoor bioplastic deep fryers, because we found one of those in the debris. But that cylinder was also just disconnected and not connected to anything. It was just sitting there next to the other two tanks. There was 3 tanks in total. And then there was a 100-pound cylinder, which was connected to the regulator, which was connected to the pipework at the house. We do have, fortunately, the house was listed up on EK Trade. And so there were some photos that were taken actually the week of, like within a week of the explosion. So you could see all the pipework on the outside of the house. And in our investigation, it looked like there was pipework going to a room in the house where there was a stove, which was still intact. And then the pipework kept going around the outside of the house to an external water heater, which the water heater, that whole wall was gone. So yeah, you can see the water heater there in the middle of that photo. And then that was the last device that anyone could. Those are the only 2 propane devices that were found inside the house, or attached, one outside the house and one inside the house. Both of those seemed to be, I mean, they were intact with no issues, except obviously the water heater was blown into the neighbor's yard. But that whole section of the house you're looking at there, from that white door over, was the part that exploded.
Right. And that was actually, I mean, it's interesting because we know that part of the house was actually an addition that was added on to the property that did not have planning approval. And so I'm going to ask you point blank, did you guys actually install the propane at this residence?
We didn't install any of the pipework. We just put the 100-pound cylinder there.
Right.
We've been delivering that house since 2010, I think. For quite a long time, 12, 13 years. At regular intervals.
Right. And was there another cylinder there that belonged to you guys, but you didn't actually provide it to this family?
We're still trying to investigate where the 420-pound cylinder that was there came from. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. So it's interesting because somebody sent me some questions about this. I thought they were all actually quite good questions, but they were wondering how does for a while you guys were the only propane business around. So I guess maybe that made it easier to try to, kind of decipher if something was going on, where a tank came from, whatever. But now you have a situation where people might get a tank from you. Tanks are being moved around to different locations. Is there any sort of a tracking system in place where, like, if I get a tank from Home Gas, can I turn around and start having somebody else fill your tank and move it from one location to the next? Is any of that being regularized in any way or monitored?
By code and by law, the only people that are supposed to fill a cylinder are the people that own the cylinder, unless you have permission from the owner to fill the cylinder. So obviously all the cylinders that are owned by Home Gas, we've never given permission to anyone else to have it filled. The reason for that is in case you have an issue like this, if you have different companies, you have one company putting their gas in the tank and tank's owned by another company, then who's really responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the tank or anything like that? So it's really important that, for the liability side and for ownership of the tank, that the same person fills it, because they have responsibility on making sure the tank is safe and, that it's not hooked up to something that's unsafe. So that is something that we are working with OffReg. They made a ruling a couple of years ago on this subject, and basically agreed with what is called the container law, that only the owner of the container can choose who fills the tank.
Right. Because I can definitely see where some problems might arise. But here's what one caller had shared last month, shortly after the incident. They said, "Good morning, Sandra. I listened to your podcast yesterday and today. Fantastic reporting on the explosion. My query is, I heard that they didn't get their propane cylinders from Home Gas. How can someone obtain these cylinders without applying for them from Home Gas? I know that you can buy the small propane cylinders from the gas station, but not the big ones. Does Home Gas have any kind of identification in their cylinders, such as a number or letters, and where they can link the customer to a specific cylinder? I know that when you apply for propane, Home Gas delivers and connects it for the customer. Can Home Gas identify where the homeowner got their cylinder of gas from? Keep up the great reporting." So you've just answered that, in that you're still trying to identify where that big cylinder actually came from.
Yeah, we do have a problem with people moving cylinders around. I mean, you deliver a 100-pound cylinder to one house, and then next time you go back, the cylinder is no longer there. Someone's moved it to another house, and that is one of the major issues. I mean, we've talked to you many times. We feel that we really need to have, as a jurisdiction, a certification program, just like you would for electricians and plumbers, gas fitters. People shouldn't just be rogue doing whatever they want, installing propane equipment. It should be certified people. I mean, you got 3 companies on the island that specifically do gas. You have Home Gas, Clean Gas, and Go Gas. And then, the large mechanical companies that have plumbers and everything, they would also be certified for propane. But a lot of people are just deciding they can do it on their own, and it's not really a do-it-yourself type of thing you want to do. I mean, there's some complications to it, and it's better just to be safe. It's a very effective fuel. It's half the cost of electricity, but it needs to be installed properly, and that's the key to it all. I mean, if it's installed properly, we had a customer yesterday told us they had a water heater and it was 52 years old and it finally died. So I can tell you how long propane equipment can last quite a long time. It's very efficient. The person was very happy that they got that long out of their propane water heater. It's pretty amazing. So what you're looking at here, we're doing a lot of safety upgrades at Home Gas. We're always looking to improve, looking for new ways to service customers, new ways to make sure that everything's safe. And I'm sure a lot of people have noticed over the last 2 years, we've been...
Oh, sorry. Add that back for me. That was my mistake. My apologies.
Not a problem.
I saw another item and I thought it was separate, but it looks like it's connected to that one.
Okay.
Um,
I got to re-upload it, no problem.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
So over the last 2 years, we've rebuilt our plant. We're a couple of weeks away from actually opening up the north terminal, which is the part on the right there. The part on the left is the south terminal. Each side of those hold 270,000 gallons of water and like 240,000 or something gallons of propane. We've been on the south side now for a year, and then now the north side's going to open up. There's no extra storage here. This is we just improved basically our ability to fight any kind of issue like a hurricane or an earthquake. You put 3 feet of concrete underneath the entire structure. It's one large piece of concrete. So theoretically, according to the engineers, the whole thing will move in an earthquake. We should have very limited damage in an earthquake, and be able to be operational immediately following any kind of issue. Our tanks went from 4 feet below grade, to now they are 4 feet above grade. That's why there's a lot more height to the plant. We added 8 feet of height to the plant. And so when, the walls are 3 feet at the base, and I think they go up to 18 inches at the top or something around. They're 2 feet at the top. So, I mean, they're slightly sloped, but everything's buried in sand. We have a full monitoring SCADA system that'll shut down in case of any kind of earthquake or any kind of incident. We can shut down all of our valves instantaneously, or fairly instantaneously, within a minute or so. And we have the ability now to fill 3 trucks at a time. We just streamlined a lot of our operations, but we did not increase any storage. We just increased safety. This is completely a safety upgrade to our plant, which was already probably the safest plant in the Caribbean. Now we're definitely one of the safest ones in the world.
Wow. So lots of upgrades. I mean, obviously, when people heard about this house explosion, I read some of the comments, which demonstrated that people just don't understand probably a whole lot about propane. So, immediately they're like, oh, well, propane's not safe. That's why I am never going to get a gas stove or whatever. Can you talk about the safety of propane, generally speaking? And then perhaps what are some of the things that people do that could potentially make the environment unsafe?
Okay. I'll let Will take over since he's our safety officer. And he just came back from propane safety class. So we'll go to the next slide. Just to talk about some other things we're doing. We're outfitting all of our trucks. Go back to this slide here. We're outfitting all of our trucks with camera systems, security cameras, tracking, remote shutoff.
Oh, nice.
They're going to have swipes for the drivers, so only the drivers can start the vehicles. So I mean, there's a lot of we're definitely really increasing. That's all cutting. Remote shutoff switches for every night. So
sorry, your mic went for some reason just there, John.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened, but all of a sudden I can barely hear you.
Sorry about that. It looks like someone was trying to call in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we've increased we're getting some cutting edge technology in our trucks. What we're doing is we are going to
whoever keeps calling Jim, stop calling John. Stop calling him. He's busy.
We're looking.
Yeah, I still can't hear you. It's still impacting your audio there. So John is showing us, folks, some of the upgrades that they've been working on. In the meantime, Leanna has a question. I don't think the home gas guys can probably answer this, but she says, will Hurley's supermarket still be moving next door? I don't know. We haven't really heard anything about that situation, so I'm not sure what they're planning to do with the rebuild at that location. All right, so let's give John a minute there to get that sorted out. In the meantime, I'm going to check some of the WhatsApp messages that are coming in. Let me see. Some people just messaging about the police. There is a missing dog, by the way. Well, he's missing, but someone has found him. Someone is inquiring. Let me just see here. This poor little puppy is Pleasant Drive in West Bay. Kind of a off-colored looking dog. They're saying that it could very well be hurt. So if you're missing a dog this morning in the vicinity of Pleasant Drive in West Bay, they said the dog is in the middle of the road. Looks like it's lost and hurt. Please try to go searching for your puppy. I'll show you guys a quick picture while we're just going to bring John and those guys in. So if this dog looks familiar to anyone, maybe it's your neighbor's dog and you can point them in the right direction. Tell them the dog was observed in the vicinity of Pleasant Drive in West Bay walking in the street. All right, John, let's try that again. Hello.
Hello. Apologies.
No worries.
No, phone hopefully is on do not disturb. Hopefully that'll stop it, but you never know. So one thing, couple things that home gas is going to undertake over the next few months. One, will we do a certified training program for all of our internal staff right now, where we go through the Propane Education Research Council training. It's very in-depth classes for drivers and installers and everything. We're going to offer at some point over the next 6 months, we're going to offer a class to outside contractors. So people can get certified. They can email info@homegas.net and get on the list, and we'll notify them when the class is available or when we start finalizing the plans for that. So we're hoping that that'll help, obviously, with just the overall safety of the island. Another thing we're doing is we're in the process of writing a safety audit, or a propane audit, I shouldn't call it safety audit, a propane audit application for our phones for all of our employees. And we are going to be sending out over the next coming months, people to do an audit of every single piece of equipment, propane equipment we can find outside on the island. That's home gas equipment. And if you see one of our auditors, they'll be dressed up. They'll have a official home gas attire on. And we'll try and make some identification. We'll get some ID cards for them. And if you want them to take a look while they're on your property, if you want them to take a look at your house, inside your house, at any equipment, feel free to ask them. They can take some photos. These people are just going to be auditors, and then they're going to take photos, and then our safety staff in the building. I mean, some of them will be obviously our own service techs and drivers when they find stuff as well, but everything will be reviewed internally, and then anything that we feel should be addressed will be addressed. This is just to get, obviously, just an audit of an inventory of the entire island, or all 3 islands, I should say, because we have equipment everywhere. So, we're looking forward to that. And then we're also working on a self-assessment website. So homeowners can go online, and we're going to have a self-assessment website up probably by the end of August would be my guess on that, where you'll be able to look up safety information on propane and all the rules and regulations for how long how far your tank should be from windows and electricity and condensing units and that kind of stuff. So we're hoping that that'll help a lot, and then people can report in from that app if they want someone to come look at something. And then always anyone can just email info@homegas.net or give us a call at 949-7474 and ask for us to come out, do an audit or do a safety check for them. They can send pictures in. We're glad to give advice and do safety checks. None of us want to have any kind of incidents with propane. I mean, it's not good for anyone.
Of course.
And obviously it's something that is tragic and we don't want to have happen again. So, and then I'll let Will talk about, all the things that we find out in the field, and we're still seeing quite a bit of just a bubble test.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, John. So what are we looking at here on the screen, Will?
So here you've got a domestic regulator. This is for your £100 installations, and where that's circled there, that's what we call a water fitting. That fitting's not actually approved for propane. It's got an olive and nut that seals down on the pipe. A certified fitting for propane is the flare type fitting. So all of our service techs, they carry a special tool called a flaring tool to put a flare on the pipe and then get it all connected properly. And this is most of the things that we're finding on a regular basis is just it's the wrong equipment that people are using and installing in their properties. We get a lot of rubber hoses. We find a lot of stuff with crimps on it. On this picture, you can see that if you look closely, the electric water heaters on the outside of the house, and the propane tank's been put on the inside of the house. That's another thing we're finding as well, is people are putting tanks inside their houses. Obviously, you don't want to be putting your propane tank inside your house. Even if a hurricane comes in, you don't want to be putting it inside your house. It needs to be put on the outside of the house. Obviously, if people are worried, if we do have a hurricane or bad weather coming, and they're worried about their tank blowing over or damaging something, we're more than happy to come and collect the tank for you and bring it back after the event's passed. We're quite happy to do that for people. Because we know some people they don't have a place to store their tank or put their tank out of the way. We also, like John's saying, we offer the safety inspections, and we're quite happy to come out and have a look at your property, make sure it's safe, give recommendations. I mean, this is one we found the other week. You can see that's inside the property, and that there is just I've not seen one of those before. I've never seen that in a house before. That's quite frightening, that.
Wow. And I mean, I guess people just have this very nonchalant attitude towards handling propane and propane equipment. If we're seeing this sort of thing, are they not comprehending what their actions could lead to?
I struggle to sometimes understand why people do what they do. Obviously I've had a lot of training. I originally was working in natural gas in the UK. I moved to Cayman in 2010, and I've been with home gas since 2011. So I've got a lot of experience training of how to install it properly. Obviously, it's not so much if you use the right equipment and you use the right tools. Propane is a very safe fuel. It's when you let's say when you try and cut corners with it, that's when it starts to get dangerous. And that's why we're offering this training that we want to do, because we want everyone to be safe. We want the island to be safe. And if people are interested and they want to learn more, give us a call, drop us an email. I'm more than happy to show somebody the correct way to do it. I've trained a lot of our apprentices and a lot of our service techs. I've worked with the drivers and passed on the experience that I have in the industry. John's the same. We're very much about passing on our knowledge that we know and getting it out there to the people so that they can be safe and make sure that their systems are efficient as well. Because obviously, if you've got a gas leak, you're wasting your gas. Not only is it potentially dangerous, you're also wasting your fuel. And we just want everyone to be safe.
All right. So we've got Mel here in the comment section. And Mel saying that the guys over at Home Gas they're awesome, and John is super helpful. Thank you, Mel. And I'm also a Home Gas customer, and I have been for many, many years. And there's different. Let's talk about some of the safety devices that people can have in their homes. Mine recently went off, and I must say, I was like, oh my God, what did I do? The one in the kitchen that is right by the gas stove went off because apparently I was trying to light the stove, and I think that when you turn it and it's clicking and then it didn't actually light, but if it must have emitted some propane in the process or some gas or something. Yeah. It's probably just a small quantity, but it's definitely enough to set off and make me know that that alarm is working. So I turn the burner off.
The electronic detectors are extremely sensitive, so they will pick up gas very quickly if you do have a leak. The one thing that everyone needs to remember, and I'm pretty sure it says it in the manual, but if you're like me who reads instructions, you need to always make sure your detector is low to the ground. So propane is not like natural gas. Natural gas, if you have a natural gas leak, natural gas will fill the entire room with product. Propane's heavier than oxygen, so it'll always go to a lower point. So you want to make sure you've got that detector below 14 inches from the floor of the property, and then it will pick it up a lot quicker. You also want to make sure your detector's no more than 10 feet away from the appliance as well. So you want to make sure that detector's low to the ground.
Let me think about that for a second there, Will, because I may not have mine done correctly. It's in the kitchen, so there's no way to put it in the floor and have it plugged in because there's no. I'm trying to think about where else it would be. Maybe I need you guys to do an audit for me.
If you've got one of our detectors, it actually comes with a cord. If you take the detector around, have a look at the back of it. The plug actually comes out and there's a cord, so you can put it down to the floor.
No, I'm just saying in the kitchen, there's nothing to plug it into that's close to the floor because all the outlets are like
plug behind the stove. Is there a plug behind the stove?
Yeah. It's right by the stove, so it's like literally behind the stove. But this is a stove top that it's not. I can't get behind the stove. It's one of those tops, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So the way that's connected, it'll have the pipe coming into the bottom of it. So it would, if you did have a leak, it would come through the cabinetry and go low down here. So as long as the detector's low, it'll pick it up.
Yes. So behind your cabinetry, there's probably a plug. That's usually how they do it, and that's where the detector goes.
Okay, I might have you guys look at that because I've never seen a plug, but I mean that doesn't mean that there isn't one. So maybe the location of that detector needs to be moved in any event because it's in the closest plug proximity wise to the stove, but that's like behind the counter. You know what I mean? That's like countertop space. So put me down, John, for maybe a little visit to have someone look at that for me. So, we recently upgraded our tank because we got this, what's it called now? The generator, right? Yeah. Of course, we needed to get a bigger tank. And this is where people, again, don't be jerry rigging your stuff and, oh, my friend's son's nephew, twice removed, claims that he can do it. And I'm going to have him come over and do it for me. The guys from Corporate Electric, they were involved. There's like planning regulations of where the tank can go in relation to the what's the thing I'm telling you we just had installed? Oh, good grief. Generator, right? Had we put it on one side of the house, there were other considerations in relation to the CUC meters, and I mean, there's a whole lot that can go into even the placement of where tanks and stuff go and how they should be secured. So folks, your best bet is to rely on the experts to guide you and to provide you with this level of expertise. That's why they're there. They know what the regulations are. They know what the rules are. And it's all designed for the safety of both yourself and the entire community. Because of course, what we see that has happened with this site, it's not just this house that was half blown to smithereens. This house has to be completely condemned. It's also neighboring homes. People have messaged about the amount of damage that they've sustained. One lady was saying $15,000, $20,000 worth of damage. Windows got blown out. All sorts of stuff can happen. Thankfully, there was no loss of life. And of course, that would certainly be the biggest, area of concern is somebody actually losing their life because you decided to save a couple of dollars and have somebody do it who's just not qualified to do the installation. So safety first, folks. Really, really important. Yeah. So I know that you guys have seen some stuff. Tell us a little bit about this one, Will. What are we looking at here that's completely wrong?
So you've got a rubber hose again coming out of the
That's just a regular rubber hose.
That's just regular rubber hose there. Now, the big misconception is people buy rubber hoses that say they're LP approved, so liquid propane approved. Now, the rubber hoses are only approved for an outdoor appliance, like a barbecue or a tiki torch or maybe a fire pit, something like that. They're not approved to use through all into the house. And then obviously you can see you've got an air conditioning unit right there as well. So that air conditioning unit, if it's a fill on site tank, needs to be 10 feet away from the tank. If it's an exchange tank, so one we take away and exchange, needs to be 5 feet away from that.
Oh, okay. So, folks, just, you guys are making some poor decisions here, insulation wise. Let's go back. Oops, sorry.
I'll let you.
Yeah. What's going on in this picture?
It's a self-installed stove.
It's a self-installed stove.
And they put rubber.
Yeah. So again, you've got a rubber hose coming out the back of the stove inside the house. And then also it looks like they've just put that stove top on top of the wooden countertop, which is obviously a combustible. So, worst case scenario, set fire to the countertop, melts the hose. Next thing, you've got a flamethrower in your house. So, yeah, not great at all.
Wow, pretty crazy. All right, what's going on here?
So that there is what we call a high pressure regulator. So that regulator is designed to be used on barbecue appliances. It's a single stage regulator. So that regulator will take the tank pressure down to the working pressure of the appliance. The problem is it's not what we call a twin stage regulator. So if that regulator fails, you're going to have tank pressure inside your house. So obviously you don't want tank pressure going inside the house.
You should explain the difference between
yeah. So normal appliances work from between about 7 to 13 inches of water column. So that's like a low pressure. Tank pressure is in excess of 10 psi. So
35.
Yeah. So you're talking a lot of pressure inside the house. So if you did have a leak or a rupture in your pipe, you're going to fill the house with gas very, very quickly.
The pressure is over 100 times greater coming out of the tank than it is going into your house. So you definitely, if you get that device to fail, it's gonna blow out the flame and then start filling your house up with gas, and then you'll have an issue.
Wow. All right, folks, don't forget, if you have a question or comment, you can give us a call, 936-2626. Again, they're going, Home Gas is going to be going out of their way to do these home audits, to make these, available for everyone. So please, by all means, take advantage of that. So this photo now that we're looking at, looks like a bunch of corrosion.
Yeah. So the other thing as well we find is obviously, we all know about salt spray in Cayman. I've worked on every coastline in the UK, and I've never seen salt damage like you get in Cayman. It's impressive. So again, we're asking customers, if your tank looks like this, please give us a call so we can come out and do a thorough check of the tank. Obviously we have customers up in Rum Point. We have customers, even customers within Georgetown West Bay area. Sometimes they're rental properties or they're holiday homes, and we might not go to the tank as often as we would normally for a regular customer. This tank, I think, was one we hadn't delivered to, I think it was 18 months. If you see something like this on your tank, or if you're concerned about rust on your tank, please give us a call so we can come and inspect the tank. And if we need to, then we can obviously deal with the tank accordingly.
Okay, so erosion and rust, definitely a
Yeah,
problem.
there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this one obviously has a huge rust problem as well.
Yeah, a lot of that looks pretty much surface on that stuff. But yeah, when it gets to that point, you really need to give us a call so we can get that. And also we can probably save the tank as well then. Obviously we don't want to be throwing hundreds and hundreds of tanks away. We do care about what we're doing to the environment and what goes into the landfill. So if we can get the tanks early, we can get them sandblasted, repainted, and get them back out in the field safe.
Okay. All right. And I mean, somebody's filling this up. I'm thinking this tank was in use. So are your drivers also, when they're looking, if they come across a tank like this, do they know that?
Yeah, so the drivers will do a visual inspection when they're there. But
Yeah.
as I said previously, sometimes we don't go back to the property. Some of the properties are run point. We only go there maybe once every 24 months because it's a holiday home or Airbnb. So obviously that tank there will hold 96 gallons. So
Yes.
if you imagine it's only on a stove or only on a water heater and a stove, and we're not going to that tank as regular as we would be for the others. I mean, I've seen tanks that we've put in the field, and within 6 months they've got rust on them just from the salt spray. So what we've done to combat that is we're using a higher grade paint now, and our sanding and prepping is a lot more stringent. So we're hoping with these new paints that we've introduced that we're going to get a lot more life out of the tanks. This was actually a property in West Bay. A customer rang in and said that he was renting one of the units and he thought there might be an issue with all the tanks that had been left around the back. So this is what the driver found when he went to go and check it. And that's the other thing as well. If people listening to the show, if they've got tanks that are empty and are sitting at properties, give us a call and we'll come and pick them up for you. We don't charge to come out and pick up old tanks and stuff. So give us a call if you've got a number of tanks that are empty or old. Please don't send them to the dump. Please don't just put them on the side of the road. We'll come and collect them because we need to be able to devalve them, wash them out, and make sure they're safe.
Very good. Okay. All right. And I think, that was it.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Very good. All right, folks. So again, John and Will from Home Gas, they've got a team of experts behind them. Contact them if you have any questions. As Alejandro says, this DIY kitchens that you saw on TikTok is not the way to go. So don't risk your life. Don't risk other people's lives. Speak to the professionals and have them do it. If you have any sort of concerns, contact Home Gas. They're happy to come out and do an audit for you. And also, make sure that you've got the what they're talking about here, these little tell me again, the little monitors. Make sure you've got them. But as they've just said here this morning, now I in particular want to check the placement of my monitors as well to make sure that they're placed in the best possible location to pick up on any sort of issues as early as possible.
So one thing on the gas monitors or detectors that you brought up, if it says the word gas, GAS, that means you have a propane leak. If it shows a number, like 20 or 30 or 40 or some number, that means it's a carbon monoxide. Means you're burning. You have to, like when you're cooking, you should have your fan on, your hood on, so that it's taking any of the carbon monoxide out of the room. So sometimes people call and it's actually a carbon monoxide leak versus a propane leak. And then we always get the 79 error, which is the most common one we get, which is actually, if you flip the thing upside down, it's actually LB, meaning low battery. But a lot of people, it'll start beeping when the battery gets low. And that's probably the most common call we get. So if you see an L and a B on it, it just means the battery in the back of it needs to be replaced.
Right. Got it. All right, folks. Very good. So it doesn't look like anybody have any questions for you. Garrett says TikTok is a danger to everyone. That's funny, Garrett. So if there are no questions, we want to again thank our guests for coming onto the program today. Really appreciate your expertise and, of course, being willing to come on when people, oftentimes don't have correct or accurate information. So, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, folks. John and Will from Home Gas. Appreciate them coming on. Safety first, folks, is the ultimate message. Yes, the RCIPS has indicated that they're saying that it's a gas leak. Some of the tanks were not even connected at all to the house. So lots of questions. I'd be curious to see the report, and I hope that the RCIPS makes the report available to the public. I mean, why not? Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Miss Sandra.
Morning. How are you?
I didn't get the number for Home Gas because I got one there. Maybe blow it up in a minute. I don't know.
Okay.
This
Hold
way.
on. Let me get the number again. Hold on 1 second here. Where was that? Home gas. Hold on, I'm gonna get it for you. All right, 9497474.
9497
Mm-hmm.
74.
7474. Yep.
Thank you very
Give
much.
them a call. You're welcome, my dear. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
All right, dear. All right, folks. You know our number, 936 Bobo. Yes, honey, chill. All right, let me just see what else is going on here. Okay. So let's take a little commercial break, and then I want to talk about this story coming out of WORC about work permit infractions. Leanna's asking about propane cars. Okay, I don't know anything about propane cars, but we can certainly ask. Okay, Denny has gone back to the robber situation. Let's take a commercial break, and we'll come right back after these messages.
Ocean Ridge Heights offers an amazing opportunity to own a piece of land in idyllic Cayman Brac, right on the bluff, starting from $80,000. Located in a quiet residential area with high elevation, these lots are ideal for a future home or investment property and are sure to go fast. Cayman Brac offers a laid-back lifestyle, amazing pristine diving, limestone caves, diverse flora, along with amazing wildlife. Inquire about the owner financing options so that you can secure your piece of paradise today. With only a few lots remaining, these are sure to go before you know it. Contact Crichton Properties today on 345-949-5250 or info@crichtonproperties.com.
Recover Personal Injury Attorneys, helping injured people get what they deserve. Did you know that insurance companies have lawyers that represent their interests? Before signing and accepting any settlement, know your rights. Call us today for a free consultation at 924-9999. That's 924-9999. Recover. Your personal injury attorneys are on standby to assist.
Are you tired of overpaying for TV services? Can't figure out VPNs? Constantly missing your favorite TV shows? And no access to the good stuff on streaming services? The frustration is real, but it doesn't have to be. Contact Roque, Cayman Streaming Pros. We'll put you back in the driver's seat in front of your TV. Call, WhatsApp, or message Roque today on 926-1213. Roque is not a TV service provider. Terms and conditions apply.
Recover Personal Injury Attorneys, helping injured people get what they deserve. Did you know that insurance companies have lawyers that represent their interests? Before signing and accepting any settlement, know your rights. Call us today for a free consultation at 924-9999. That's 924-9999. Recover. Your personal injury attorneys are on standby to assist.
In the mornings, no one wants to miss listening to the Cold Hard Truth or reading CMR. Cayman's #1 news platform has made your morning commute fun again. Pass this time with the Cold Hard Truth on weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Talk radio that's engaging, entertaining, and enlightening. But be careful. Some mornings it's so hot, you might run into a bit of trouble.
All right, folks. Trouble. We're eliminating trouble around these parts. So, Leanna, to answer your question, John was listening to the show. He said our entire fleet is propane powered. Who knew? Yes, we have a few propane auto gas customers. I didn't know propane could run a car. What? So apparently there are a few people who purchase gas cars from Asia. And when they show up, gas equals propane, they are meant to order a petrol gas. Oh, a petrol car. So they got the wrong car. So they come and get filled at home gas. It is cheaper and cleaner than gasoline. And we're just starting to roll out a program to convert other companies' fleets to propane. Wow. So they have these propane cars in Asia, and people have accidentally gotten them and then didn't realize that they got a savings. So this is so interesting. I never knew anything about this. Maybe we need to do a little feature on this, John. So do they just show up at your place like a gas station? So another person says, yes, they have propane powered vehicles here. Home Gas has them, and also Clean Gas. And hear me now, I'm like, wow, I never knew they even existed. They said, yep, you're never too old to learn. And that is the truth. All right. Very, very good. There you go. All right. The things you learn, honey child. Someone was asking if they charge for inspection. I think they said no, that's a courtesy call. So you just have to book them. Okay. All right, let's talk about this report that came out about some immigration infractions. Now, you guys know we're always here on the program talking about Leanna's excited about that. She's like, OMG, thank you, Home Gas. We're always here talking about people who break the law in this country. It's a lot of people. And, you know, oftentimes we think that it's just like construction workers that we've talked about, home care companies that we've talked about, your next door neighbor who is an employer. Yeah, they might be doing it. But lo and behold, big companies are doing it too. What? Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman sent out a press release yesterday saying that a company, a fast food company, has been fined $125,325 in administrative fees, which they collected on June the 15th. That is no drop in the bucket, honey child. I need that money for deposit on my investment property. Hello? They were fined after the investigations found they collaborated with Department of Labor and Pensions that 14 counts of employing persons outside the terms of their work permit and 1 count of making a false representation to WORC. Well, they look at it, this is a administrative fine because, child, you can go to court for that kind of thing. So we put up the story, and right away people are like, well, why aren't you guys naming the company? Is it because it's Burger King and they sponsor you guys? I was like, pump your stupidity brakes. Pump the brakes. Okay. When Renee did the story, now, you know, if that was me, I would have been doing a little bit more digging. But when she did the story, government sends out a press release. She just put up the press release. I wanted to know, when I saw it, I was like, huh? Who on earth is this? Same question I had in my mind. Renee didn't ask. So I started asking. You all know me, honey child. I'm digging. Who on earth? What company is this? The first people I went to was the owner of Burger King. And I said, is this you? And he's like, nope, not us. I said, well, that's a good thing. So who else could it be? My mind started going through all the fast food places. I got Subway, Popeyes. Well, they're probably Burger King. So we got Subway. We have, what's the other one called? Pizza Hut. We got, oh God, who else is there? KFC. Like, I started to go through all of them. And then one of my sources pinched me and said, Sandy, it's actually Wendy's. I said, what? Caymanian owned long-time franchise? No, sir. How did this happen? Well, I don't know. Anyway, Deputy Director of Compliance at WORC, Mr. Mervyn Manderson, said that the investigation was carried out in a very efficient and professional manner by the lead officer in the case, and that he was very proud of the officer and all team members who assisted. Now, you guys know what it means to work outside the terms of your work permit. Do y'all understand what that means even? Let me break it down. When you're an employer, you've got to know the law in these areas, or you need to hire someone, you need to hire someone who knows the law. So this, folks, happens when you hire someone, say as a secretary, but you actually have them working as a lawyer. People often do it in order to save money on work permit fees, and that's against the law. So, you've got to categorize correctly what your person is working as. So, for example, I've seen people do this. I think I have to look this up again, but there is a distinction between a domestic helper, domestic worker, and a nanny. Now, y'all know Caymanians are influenced by terminology and behavior from other people. So y'all be like, oh yeah, this term nanny has really caught on. You now want to call your helpers nannies. Well, maybe it sounds better. I don't know. Maybe the helper cares or doesn't care. I'm not sure. I call mine a house manager, right? Because I feel like somebody who's cooking and cleaning and doing all this stuff, they're helping you manage the house. Now, there's no category of house manager, thank God, over at WORC. And that's just me trying to be a little bit more politically friendly, correct with terminology. But for all intents and purposes, immigration, that's a domestic work permit. If you say she's a nanny, that means she's supposed to be more qualified and doing a slightly different job. And so therefore, WORC wants their coins when it comes to that work permit. So y'all need to be careful. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of curious exactly what these positions were. I'd love to see the case file in this one. Because what do they have? People working as food servers? Like what would be the title there for what those people do? Like they take your orders, cashiers, and then they're a manager? Like I don't even know I'm not sure. So it's always because the person is working in a lesser category. Are they working? No, that's reversed. The work permit has them in a lesser category than what their responsibilities are and what they're actually doing. And this is one of the things that you have to be very, very careful with, because I've seen it before, right? Managers of a company, they're going to, like, their email signature says, oh, I'm the CEO of this telecom company. It's happened with a local telecom company before. Their CEO. Everybody in the company says, oh, they're the CEO, they're the manager, and they're carrying out all these managerial duties, but yet their work permit only had them as corporate sales or whatever. So it's like, you can't be carrying on and acting in the capacity of a CEO and doing the most and doing all this stuff, getting paid a CEO salary, and then the work permit only has you as, assistant manager in charge of business sales or whatever. No. They're totally different work permit categories. And at the end of the day, government wants their money. They want their fees. So they will investigate you working outside the terms of your work permit. Somebody says, let's start calling them domestic engineers. Well, soon CUC, speaking of engineers, soon WORC is going to be like, oh, that person's an engineer, are they? Okay, well, let's charge you an engineer fee of $5,000 per annum for work permit. Someone says it's not just George. Oh, Lord. No, sir. What a hot mess. All righty. Home Gas confirmed that the audit will be free. Safety inspections may have a charge depending upon the equipment. So somebody else says that the construction industry does that a lot. Yes. People come here, and remember the one guy with that lady, I forget her name now, but she was doing that. Like, oh, I'm going to take out your work permit as a general laborer or whatever, but I'm going to pay you as an electrician assistant or an electrician or whatever. So, y'all be putting yourselves in a whole heap of trouble. Good morning, Andrea. When you're doing these sorts of things, trying to save money is normally the reason why it's done. Jim says, are the different Wendy's owned by the same people or group of persons? Yes. They own the franchise. So in this country, franchises tend to be owned. They might have multiple locations, but they're all owned by the same people. So like the Burger King, it's one franchise holder. Cayman is too small to have more than one franchise holder for the same brand, basically, right? Might make sense in a place like Jamaica where, like Kingston, maybe one person owns all the franchises in Kingston or whatever. But speaking of franchises, you know, I did not appreciate until this trip how much Jamaicans love them a fried chicken. And I even had to say to my husband, what is it about fried chicken that y'all love so much? I felt like everywhere I went, it was like fried chicken, fried chicken. I'm like, oh, I'm so sick and tired of fried chicken. You know, Caymanians, when we go to Miami, the first thing a Caymanian wants to do is go to Walmart. When a Jamaican returns home to Jamaica, I feel like the first thing they want to do is go to KFC. They're like, no, we got to go to KFC and get the real fried chicken. Ugh. Child. I must admit, the first day I was there, though, they're like, oh, you want to go to KFC? And I was like, okay. And I was really hungry because I hadn't had anything to eat all day. And so, boy, that chicken did taste a little extra. Normally, KFC doesn't agree with my stomach. I think it's something that they put in their oils. Like, I don't know. Like, I get really an upset tummy eating KFC normally, so I don't really eat it a lot. Maybe once a year, if that. But, yeah. So I was like, okay. And honey child, I ate me 2 pieces of fried chicken. It was so good. I was just so hungry. But yeah, they love a lot of fried chicken. There's another company there. I forget what it's called. That they do like fried chicken too. But boy, when you go in KFC, the line be out the door, the wait. I'm like, y'all love a fried chicken like this? Whoever has the franchise for KFC in Jamaica, they've got to be a millionaire times over and over. They can't bring out the chicken fast enough. One guy jump up in his church clothes. Boy, y'all better hurry up because, you know, I've been here for 1 hour waiting on my chicken. I was like, poor you. Gabby says fried chicken with oxtail gravy. You know, I saw a sign the other day where somebody's like, you can't get the oxtail gravy unless it's for oxtail, and they still charging you extra if you get chicken, you ask for it. I was like, oh, okay, is that a thing? Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Yes,
There's
sir.
another one called Island Grill. Have you tried that one?
Oh, wait, what's it called?
Island Grill.
Island Grill. Was that the one that oh gosh. I can't remember. I can't remember if that was it, to be honest.
Good man, quite good. All right.
Yeah. Oh Lord. I'm gonna try to remember it. Because one day I did go there and they have, instead of like French fries, they do potato wedges. Is that the same one? So they're a little bit different in that they don't do French fries. That was good. I mean, they try to stay away from fried chicken for other reasons, but yeah. Trying to see. All right, I'll see if I can remember. All right. Somebody said Mother's. 2 people messaging me saying maybe it was Mother's. No, it wasn't Mother's. I think it had like a 2 name, and then the box was like blue and white, I think. They put it like in a little box. Now this is gonna bother me until Island Grill. Oh gosh, it's gonna bother me now until I figure this out. So Jim says that he finds that the 2 KFCs here, the chicken tastes different from the one in Georgetown and 7 Mile Beach. Well, they're supposed to all be the same recipe, but Jamaicans swear that their KFC different, boy. They're like, they must have got a little extra. What is it? How many seasonings? 13 seasonings or whatever. So they must have found out what seasoning number 14 is, and they sprinkle that on their chicken. Jim says true Southern style fried chicken is the best. You know that you can actually fry chicken but bake it. So you just batter it and you bake it, and it can be just as crunchy and just as good. I'm going to tell y'all a secret. You know what you actually use to batter it with? Cornflakes batter. They actually sell it in the box. you can get, I have it here because I use it as my topping. I'm going to tell you one of my cooking secrets now. I use it on my mac and cheese. So I actually do a topping on my mac and cheese. Ooh, honey child, you want a little extra on the mac and cheese. So I do the Italian one that comes with like the parsley and then you got some Italian seasoning. And then on top of that, I do the cornflake one and it bakes it like nice, give it a nice little crispy bake on top. Mm-hmm. Carmen says Americans love their fried chicken too. I guess Pollo Tropical, is that fried chicken though? You know what? I've never eaten at Pollo Tropical. As oftentimes as I've gone to Miami, I've actually never eaten there. But boy, I love me a Boston Market. But Boston Market is rotisserie chicken. So that's a little bit healthier for you. But I keep telling y'all now, it looks like all of the Boston Markets in Miami, I think except one, they've all disappeared. Every single store has closed. I was so disappointed last time I went up. Because boy, I love me a nice Boston Market rotisserie chicken. Oh, their cornbread is to die for. Their mac and cheese is decent for fast food mac and cheese. Fast food mac and cheese is just never the same, but it's decent. Okay. Yasmin says, OMG, Sandy, that's me as I reach Jamaica, straight to KFC. That's why they have one conveniently located not far from Kingston International Airport, right? It's Norman Manley Airport. Is that the proper name? Yeah, boy, they have one right there. So you can just pull over and grab you a box and start chowing down. Island Grill didn't do fried chicken, says Evelyn. Juicy beef. Island Grill is in the airport too. No, it wasn't Island Grill. Oh gosh, it's gonna come to me. It's gonna come to me. Denver says the best fried chicken in Cayman is at Over the Edge in North Side. Really? Liana says you're making everybody hungry this morning, Sandy. I know. This would be a good time to tell y'all about one of our sponsors. Island Taste does fried chicken. Ooh, today's Friday. Hold on. Are they doing fried chicken today? Let me see what's on the menu. Hold on now. I bet you it's fried chicken. They got Cayman style fish, seafood rundown, stewed turtle, oxtail and beans, fried chicken, jerk chicken, and herb roasted chicken, and chicken soup. Yeah, buddy. Everybody now want fried chicken today. Why not? I love a good rotisserie chicken, Akina. I'm with you. I try not to do too much fried stuff. And like I said, sometimes I think the oil that certain people use is just not, my stomach just is not going to like it. But a good piece of rotisserie chicken with all those herbs and stuff, nice and juicy. High fructose corn syrup. Educate yourselves about that nasty ingredient before it's too late. Who's putting high fructose corn syrup in chicken? I'm just saying. Who's doing that? Y'all putting corn syrup on your chickens? I hope not. Oh, sorry. Oh my goodness. Somebody bless me. All right. Yeah, you got to make sure the oil is properly done. Chloe, good morning. It's called Chicken and Ting. That's the name of a business in Jamaica? I see. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what kind of oil they use, but I've noticed it before. Like my stomach just isn't. Y'all go to Island Taste. Family owned Caymanian business, over 35 years now in business. They got fried chicken today. They got jerk chicken. And they got chicken soup. And herb roasted chicken. And oxtail and beans. And stewed turtle. I haven't had a good turtle in a while. I love me some seafood rundown though. Boy, I tell you what. I could eat that every day. Yes, honey chill. All right. So let me just check and see what else. Oh, yes. Let's talk a little bit about politics. Oh, Lord. Okay. So, oh, God, I have to laugh at McKeeva, That man, what a joker. No, sir. I tell you what. Apparently he's been out there flapping his lips. First of all, the RCIPS contacted me and they reminded me that there is a court order, gag order in place as it relates to this rape case that he's charged with. So we cannot say anything that could potentially identify who the victim is. So I can't say it, obviously, and you can't call in and say it. You can't say it in the comments. A lot of people know who the victim is. Keep it to yourself. You're not allowed to say it or say anything that might identify who she is. That's typical of these situations. I think, again, because of who he is, there is this concern that he will put undue pressure. And I mean, I've heard stories of, her family members putting undue pressure on her to drop this case. So, she's entitled to her privacy. Yes, so we won't name her. We won't identify her in any way. Having said that, anybody who's anybody in Cayman already knows who she is. This is the reality of it. And this is why I even say with the sex offender registry, y'all be making an argument that's not even logical. Because if I wanted to know who a perpetrator is in any sexual assault case, believe me, I can find out with probably 2 phone calls, if that. Doesn't mean that you have to identify the victim, though. You know what I'm saying? So one of McKeeva's strategies has been that he is going to pull out of the closet what everybody else has done. I guess at some level, from a human perspective, I understand it, but how does that vindicate you? It doesn't mean that you didn't do it. So, okay, we're going to talk about, Mr. Roy 25 years ago was blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, did you rape her or did you not rape her? What does that have to do with the matter at hand? Well, this other person, a child molester, yeah, well, we've been talking about that forever. And once again, does that mean you raped her or you didn't rape her? Sometimes when we're talking about other people, and I'm cautious because I know in this program, sometimes we have to do it. We got to be digging up in your history to set the foundation, let people know what we're really dealing with, right? But if it's a mere tool to deflect the attention away from yourself, then I have to question why. There's a difference if you're doing it to put things like in a historical context, like, listen, this behavior is nothing new. This has been going on from the time Jesus was in diapers and he was a baby. And we saw the star from the wise men in the east, right? And here are examples of allegations over the years or whatever. So you can go back and dig up people's history for like that type of a reason. If you only dig up somebody's history and talk about it when they start saying, oh, well, you're being accused of rape and we want to hold you accountable for this behavior, and that's the only time you're talking on your colleagues, that's a problem. And we have seen this before with Mr. Bush. Remember when the last government was in and people like Arden McLean was calling him to task? Mr. What's his name there from Northside? Oh, God, what his name is again? Was calling him to task. Ezra Miller was saying that he should be removed. He should step down. This, that, and the next thing. Speaker of the House, and the last government wasn't prepared to do anything about it. The way he fought back is like, oh, yeah? Y'all want to talk about me? Well, I got to talk about all of you and all the stuff y'all been doing. Y'all are wife beaters. You're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah. Okay. My thing is this, though. You can pick out these historical things about people, and some of them were wife beaters. Some of them were cheaters. Some of them have been accused of probably sexual assault and stuff in the past. But with you, it never ends. That perhaps is the biggest difference. Your history just rolls from one day to the next, 1 year to the next, 1 century to the next, and it just keeps going. So you're that person who doesn't learn, right? You're the person, yeah, that person was an alcoholic, but then they stopped drinking. You don't stop. You just keep going. So you can dig in their past and talk about them all you want, but a lot of those individuals have turned over a leaf. Maybe they can, blame it on being young and stupid. And I still don't see how that really assists you in any of your arguments, because you're still doing and engaging in this kind of behavior. We have no current or sitting MP that has been dragged into a court as much as Mr. Bush. And in the last 5 years has had as many allegations of sexual misconduct, unwanted touching, beating a woman, all this kind of stuff. No other MP. So say what you want about them. Some of them, yes, cheating on their wives and whatever. Oh, they got history of pushing on the wife and breaking her collarbone too and that sort of thing. Yeah, that might have happened in the past, right? But Mr. Bush is the one who is currently in a situation. Breaking news. Hold on here, honey child. Let me get you this one. Y'all know CMR gets the sus as and when it's happening. We got some FRU units. That's financial. That's firearm response units right on Smith Road in the plaza there. What's the name of this plaza? It's where Dr. Lookloy has his office. So something's going on in that plaza. I can't say yet what. We've received some photos. Hold on now. Let me pull up the photos for y'all. So I would recommend probably staying out of the area, giving the police a minute to figure out what's going on. So there they are. Good morning, Mr. Marco. There they are. Multiple police units, including the firearm response unit. By the way, they were also yesterday down by the Tomlinson Furniture Building, and we couldn't hear exactly why, although someone said that they were involved in a police chase. So, what a hot mess. So right across from that's the Pastor place is across the street. Oh, they got one of the robbers? Oh, Ross. Woo, y'all go on through. Go on through, Popo. Yes, get them. Get them criminals. Is it the little fat one? Did his mama call in and tell y'all that him walking like a little duckling? Mm-hmm. I hope so. Got one of the robbers from last night. I bet you that's one of them Georgetown fools, ain't it? We still get his name and put him up for y'all. Don't worry. Hot mess. All right. No, the slim one. Oh, they got the slim one. Well, he ain't gave up his little fat friend. You're not got to worry about that. There's no loyalty amongst thieves, honey child. Ooh, hot tamales. All right. We love it. Grab them. They're going to give them bail, though. They listen, our legislators need to change this foolishness about entitlement to bail, because that's the UK law, You have a, the interpretation is that there is a, oh God, well, when we did it in law school, now I'm going to tell y'all, there is a, what's the legal terminology? Presumption in favor of bail. So in other words, there has to be a really good argument for why you shouldn't get bail. Because remember, everybody is presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Hot mess, isn't it? Yes, sir. I tell you. All right. Let me post this up on social media. Make sure everybody gets the news, honey chill. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mess with them. All right. Go there, RCIPS. You're making us proud this morning. Okay. Thank you, Miss Morna. Leanna says the chase was coming from Windsor Park and cut through by the hospital. Oh, this was the one yesterday. Oh, uh-huh. Yes, my dear child. Mm-hmm. What a hot mess. Good. Get them. Somebody need to thump them on their head while they're at it. Well, if they find the firearm, depending on whether he pleads guilty or not, that's 7 or 10 years. Right there. And they need to add on some extra charges as well. Hot mess. All right, there's new political parties. So people have been asking me about this. I don't know who they're supposed to be. All I know is they're trying to be incognito. It's what do they call themselves? Cayman Forward. So I don't know who the heck Cayman Forward is. And apparently they are trying their best to stay hidden and pretend like there's some kind of movement. Listen, if you have to hide behind whatever this is supposed to be, I feel like it's shady. Just tell us who you are. What's the big deal? Leanna says, is this Frank Matfield again? I don't know who this is, but I'm not feeling the vibe from whoever this is. It kind of has the remnants, like design-wise, of someone connected to UDP. Like it feels like UDP design, and ugh. We'll eventually hear who it is anyway. Is it Chris Saunders? Somebody said maybe it was Kathy. I don't know, but it's someone trying to position themselves for the next election, I suppose. So we'll keep an eye on them. We'll eventually find out exactly who it is. Nothing around here stays hidden for long, I can tell you all that. Not in these Cayman Islands. We always find out one way or the other. So, maybe you just tell us who you are and save yourself the trouble. Oh, Cayman Forward. And so we're like, no, it's a community movement. Child, please. Some of y'all trying to see if people like you enough for you to run and then in the next election. Well, just do it the right way. Just tell people, hey, I'm contemplating running for political office. And I want to know if you, the people, would accept me. Well, you need to be out there doing some work. Somebody said they heard it's Bobby Boden's daughter thinking about contesting in Georgetown South. Who the heck? Which daughter would that be? Which of his daughters? He got two. I don't think it's Joanna because she's not looking for no headache. The thing about it is y'all can't just jump up and talk about you're contemplating running in Georgetown South North 5.0 because they're going to change the names, I'm hearing, from the boundary commissions. They're not going to keep like South and North and whatever anymore because they're going to mix it up so much. It'll be like Georgetown 1, Georgetown 2. But just, if you're interested, the first thing you should actually be doing out there, to be honest, is proving your worth to the people. That's what you should be doing. You really want to be of service to the people, you need to be serving us from now. Don't jump up a month before election to, oh yes, I'd like to be your candidate. And I'm thinking, okay, your track record is what? You've demonstrated you're going to be different. How? What ideas have you brought to the table in terms of solution? How have you been working in the community? Throwing up a little NPO 6 months before the next general election isn't going to cut it. We the people not so fool. Okay, do better. So, I don't know who this is, but like I said, it's only a matter of time before we'll certainly find out, and we will let y'all know once we find out for sure. So I've heard a lot of suspects, like I said, names floating around, and I don't actually know, but we'll eventually hear who it is. Somebody said I heard it's McKeeva, and he's running against Bernie Bush with a bunch of others. Now that would be the biggest joke of all. That, to me, McKeeva said he's going to retire, and that is the one thing. If this man has never kept his word about anything else, this is the one thing that we would beg you, sir. Please try to bow out, roll out, fall out semi-gracefully. I mean, not really, because you got all this drama surrounding you, but don't run again. West Bay don't want you no more. Get out. Bernie, even to you, need to slap down now. What you been doing in West Bay? Nothing. Kathy, well, now she has an excuse to do nothing because she's Speaker of the House. So the people of West Bay, what is she, Central? Not even getting any real representation. Feel sorry for y'all. You don't get a vote in Parliament anymore. I don't know. Sophia says, vote Sandy. No, honey child. No, sir. Vote for me for the best talk show. That's where it's going to stop. The best media house. That's what y'all need to be voting for. Yes, participate in the next Tower Marketing Survey, but not for political office, honey child. I don't have the tolerance for foolishness. There's nothing, I ran into someone recently, grocery store, like, yeah, Sandy, you got to run that. That's what you must do. I was like, give me 5 minutes to convince you why that's not a good idea. 3 minutes into my 5 minutes, they were like, you know what, Sandy, you right, you're the most effective right where you are. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. The things I sit here and do every morning, you think I could do that if I was an MP, calling out people on their foolishness? Calling out the government, calling them out the other MPs? You can't do that when you're a politician. Calling out the civil servants where required? Nope. So I would give up being somewhat effective for being impotent. No, that don't make no damn sense. All right. Liana says we need some new faces. Bring the kids on the platform. Paul says Cayman is too small for 3 pictorial parties. Child, we too small for the 2 we got now. Nothing but a hot mess and division. Miss Sue says another big mess for Cayman. Strong Wilt. Hi, Sandy. Voting for George. Lord have mercy. I thought you were going to say you voting in Georgetown. You say you voting for George as in George Ebanks? He can't run for public office, though. Y'all do know that there's some people who in this community, I can think of 3 and 4 off the top of my head, who are ineligible for life. Some of them don't seem to know it, but they are, right? So once you've had a dishonesty conviction, theft, obtaining property by deception, fraud, these are all dishonesty convictions. The Constitution of this country says you can never, ever, under any circumstances, run for public office. And it does not matter if that conviction has been removed from your record. For the purposes of the Constitution, it doesn't matter. Even if it's a spent conviction is what they call it, you still can never run for public office. Y'all need to know little nuggets about your Constitution. And so Brother George over there doesn't have a chance in hell because he is ineligible to run again. I think he ran once before, but he can't ever run again. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hello, Sandy.
Hello, honey child. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Beautiful.
Have you driven down along the waterfront straightaway and all around the main road of Bodentown?
Not since Last weekend, I think I went Sunday for some conch.
Have you taken a really good look? It's just becoming so trashy.
In
And
Bodden Town Central, or
the main part of Bodden Town, the
Yeah.
state road away, it's just, I mean, you've got the one house on the land side that looks like a junkyard.
Well, isn't that the one that oh no, that's the other one that was hit by Ivan that's still all these years later still sitting there. They need to knock that structure down.
This is all kinds of vehicles and all kinds of everything.
Oh.
Yard right across from that 2-story waterfront apartments or whatever. That area, then if you up closer to the gas station, next door to the smaller gas station, that yard. If you go further down to the police station, right past the police station on the left-hand side, the 2-story structure, and then right directly next to it, the single-story structure, all the crap in that yard. I think it was called the White House at one point across the street on the side. It's just getting to be such an eyesore.
Oh, I need to go and have a look.
And Bodden Town used to be a really quaint little town, and I don't understand why this is being allowed. I don't know why the DOE isn't going out there to check on some of these properties. I know the 1-2-story structure and the 1-story structure, that it's a yellow tone. I know those are rentals. They almost look like they should be condemned. I mean, I just don't understand why people are allowing this to take place on an island that it's becoming unrecognizable to me.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, I know that the Minister of Tourism is trying to work on something in terms of cleaning up our island and more of like a beautification campaign and stuff.
What about the MP for that area?
What? Yeah, I mean, that would be John. I don't know. It's a good question.
I mean, where are these people that were elected in? Where are they? So I just, my heart sinks, sinks for watching the direction Cayman's going. And it's, I mean, everybody, I mean, I feel bad for the elders and I feel bad for the youth. But it's up to us, I would call us the middle guy or the middle lady in between those ages. It's up to us to really make the difference. Let the elders be proud of their island.
Yes.
But give the youth a fighting chance. I just don't understand.
Well, I'm gonna take a drive. Like I said, I didn't look that closely, to be honest, but now that you're mentioning it, I think I'll do a drive out this weekend and see.
Yeah, take your time and look around. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm just absolutely shocked. It's just gotten to be so junky looking. And then you have other people trying to take pride in their property, and then you have somebody who doesn't. Excuse me, have to have.
Yeah, and there's always one or two in a neighborhood. Trust me. Thank you so much, Carl. I really appreciate it. There are always one or two in a neighborhood, and I feel like when others in the neighborhood try to say, hey, why aren't you keeping your property in better condition? They get all upset with you and start excuses like, well, not everybody got the money to clean up their property. I'm like, okay. And you have a property because you think everything associated with that property is going to be free. This is why sometimes you're better off renting from other people. And then they have the lawn service come. Because home ownership is not a walk in the park and it's not free. These are the things you have to do. Maintain your yard. Stop bringing down the whole neighborhood and you're harboring snakes and rodents and all kind of foolishness in your bush of a yard. Miss Arlene says, caller, the MPs are all useless. Lord Jesus. So right, Jim, we were there last 2 weekends. It's a mess. Well, I need to go check it out. Aliana says, what you're saying, Miss Sandy, is go drink the Kool-Aid and stand up in the legislative assembly and call them out. Yes. Me? No, Bobo. We're not going up in there. The NICE program, do they normally do one in the summer? They only used to do one a year, which was around Christmas time, like the pre-Christmas cleanup. I think maybe last year they did too. They found some extra money in the budget. But what sense does a nice program make when people, the second the nice team comes through, 5 minutes later, y'all throwing your cans and your trash and bags and plastic all over the place? It's not so nice because it's just a waste of money. When people in this community have no self-pride in their individual properties and their homes. All these properties and homes and structures are owned by someone. All these derelict vehicles all over the place, those are owned by people. So they need to start cleaning up the place and they need to have some self-interest. Miss Charlene says Kathy's doing a whole lot in West Bay. Oh, really? I know you're in her committee, child, but we'll see. If you knew what I knew, you wouldn't be swearing for some people, honey, child. I'm just saying. We'll see. Well, I'd love the list of a whole lot of exactly what's being done. Send me the list. Would love it. Yeah. Thanks. Someone just sent me some footage of the let me see now. Oops. Did I send it to the wrong one? Oh, sorry. Wrong person. Hold on. Someone just sent me some footage of what's happening at the doctor's office. Let me see what this one says. Video footage. Get in there, Popo. Oh, sorry. I had a little cough there. Ooh. Let me drink water instead of tea. I see 1, 2, 3 police vehicles. So they were actually chasing him. Hot mess. Yeah, boy. Look at the boys from the FRU in their little uniforms. I see it. All right, there's a nasty yard in Bogtown. I saw the yard, said somebody else. I'm gonna someone says, what about stiffer fines for littering? We need that, but enforcement is also important. So this person says, hey Sandra, I've traveled to New York City multiple times over the last 3 months and noticed that almost all establishments operate on a card-only basis to avoid robberies. I've also noticed it starting in Miami as well. That makes so much sense. Let's talk about that a little bit on Monday. This concept of going digital has some real benefits. Leanna says the littering fine should be $5,000. Agreed, 1,000%, Leanna. Yes. Even next road to where I live in Savannah Meadows is terrible. One house has so many darn derelict vehicles down each side of the road. It's really bad. How is he allowed to do this? We have to start making them jackasses of the day. Amelia says I must pick her up so she can let your jawbone drop down from the nasty homes and stuff. Oh. Well, my dear child, we got to do better. That's for sure. All right, beautiful folks. I think that is where we're going to leave it for this beautiful Friday morning. The weekend is here. I don't know what kind of festivities are on this weekend. I don't think there's any big parties or whatever going on, but regardless, please don't drink and drive. Don't speed and drive. Think about your own safety as well as the safety of other road users. I encourage you to stay home and drink if you must drink. Strong Wilt says, I know exactly where that caller is talking about. I was wondering what's going on with that place. It totally looks like a junkyard so close to the road. John is useless, probably home reading his scriptures. Oh Lord, take the wheel. I can't with you people. I'm gonna go down there. I bet you I drove past it, didn't even see it. All right, I'm gonna go down in Bordentown. Claudette says, is it that they're charged for keeping these events? So put in the charge a good money for after event cleaning so that money can be paid some companies to do the cleaning. Well, we know what KMAS, they've apologized and they said, yes, normally they have someone, but they neglected to book someone this year because supposedly an email didn't go. And they rectified it by Monday and they promised it won't ever happen again. And now they're going to go out and clean up the community. Oh, maybe they should go in Bordentown and see what's going on with that house. CS says, so you're not going to show the video from the doctor's office? There's not much to it. The pictures that we've already posted tell you exactly what's going on. The video doesn't show anything of immense interest. Just the police there. And we know they're there already. All right. Oh, Live has some good advice for everybody. Thank you, Live. Appreciate you. Says, and leave people, man and woman, alone this weekend. Live, I think Live is making a not so subtle suggestion. Can we go at least one weekend without giving somebody a bun in any direction? Lord Jesus, Live. On that note, y'all be good or be good at it. Have a fantastic weekend. See you on Monday.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.